Welcome to the SEC.
Our program will be built on 4 principles in which I talk about all the time: toughness, effort, discipline, and pride.
Dang it, I'm going to have to buy that boy cream cone.
Now I'm distracted on my point. What were we talking about?
It's bullcrap. All I care about is winning. Show me the dang baby.
You do it till they do it right, and then you do it till they can't do it wrong.
Go get him. Why are you dancing around? Eat him like he's a steak.
He fits what TexAgs radio is about. He fits into what the listeners are going to want. He's a pro on every level.
That's how long I've been on ya.
It's Nuno and the crew on TexAgs radio, right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
You know how long I've been on ya. Since Prince was on Apollonia. Since OJ had...
Look, today is a good day. Today's a great day. Welcome into TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Today is a good day because it's day 4 of SEC Media Days, and that means it's Texas A&M Day, Jimbo Day, and I am looking forward to talking to them. I will tell you, I'm not a huge fan of them being the last one to go. Not a huge fan of it because there's like an excitement level, and then you're working, and you start getting tired towards the end. But our energy is going to be high for this one. It's going to be a busy day, and I am joined for the first time in, I think, since day 1 in the Go Hour, in the first segment, by Olin Buchanan, our Heisman Trophy voter and good friend of the show. Good morning, OB.
Good morning. I'm glad that it's the last day as well.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun and everything to talk about football, and I wish Jimbo had been on the first day, but you get to the last day, and you're tired, and you've heard a lot of the same things. And now Jimbo's going to have some things, I'm sure, to tell us a little bit differently, but starting with, his thoughts on Anias, I guess. But yeah, we get this one in the books and come on back to College Station. Maybe we can bring some of this rain with us.
Well, yes. Unfortunately, Dalton ruined my day already. Like, it's what, 8:07 Central Time, and he goes, "Yeah, we may need to look for a hotel tonight. It's going to be raining until next year."
I have that effect on people, ruining their day.
Yeah.
Some would say I've done it my whole life.
Well, so you're saying that it's supposed to thunderstorm until 7 a.m. tomorrow?
That's what I saw in the weather report, but, weather reports can always be wrong.
They can be wrong.
I would love to be home tonight. Trust me, there would nothing I'd love more than being in my own bed back in College Station. But if we're here, we're here.
Yeah, we are here. And so beyond A&M, it's going to be Tennessee Day and Auburn Day. So we'll be watching those situations. We will be talking to some Tennessee and Auburn insiders along with our coverage of Texas A&M. So it'll be a fun show today. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do that by texting the A&B text line, 979-693-1150, 979-693-1150. As a reminder, this roadshow is brought to you by Wings and More. They've got the best wings in Aggie Land. They got burgers, ribs, chicken tenders, and seafood. Voted the best wings in the Brazos Valley. It is Wings and More on University Drive. OB, now that you've had about 24 hours to kind of sit on the Anias situation, what are your thoughts this morning on how it affects this team, short-term, long-term?
I went back and read everything I could on it. And while not wanting to sound as if I'm condoning anything, I would be surprised if he misses a game.
Really?
Well, he wasn't under the influence of any alcohol, apparently. I saw his breathalyzer test was he breathed under the legal limit. Okay. I understand there might have been some weed there. I don't know how much 0.28 or 0.29 ounces is, but I'm told, because I don't partake.
You don't partake in the weed?
I do not. The only weed I do is the ones I pull out of my flower bed. But I'm told that's a very small amount.
For our weed listeners out there.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, I don't know.
Your generation knows more.
Oh, okay, my generation. Good, just making sure you weren't putting me in that.
No, your generation.
Okay.
Even though I grew up with the Snoop Dogg generation, smoke weed every day. But
hey.
But that being said, if you guys know Texas on the A&B line, I don't know what is considered a lot or little. I just don't know. I can tell you, well, how much is it again?
I think it said 0 or 0.028 or 0.29 ounces.
Well, I will tell you, that sounds less than an egg. And so not my micronutrients would not fit into that profile. OB. Doesn't sound like a lot. I don't know.
And then, okay, from what I understand, the there would be no real significant charges with the weapon had it not been for the other charges.
Right.
I could see, just to make a statement, and I'm not saying this will happen.
Sam Houston game?
Maybe the Sam Houston game, but obviously it's, you don't know, but I would, and I'm not even sure I would suspend him for that.
Landon on the text line, on the A&B text line, that's just like a joint, nothing serious. You would have just got a ticket.
Yeah, but I saw some of those big fat Gagne joints when I went to Jamaica. So when you say it's just a joint, I need more information.
So according to Sam Kamen, reporter extraordinaire behind the glass, he says the weight included is the paper that it was rolled in. And I would say the paper would probably be the bulk of the weight if that's the case.
So the point is that, a few years ago, Cameron Robinson, a big offensive tackle from Alabama, got arrested with weed and a firearm. They said it was a stolen firearm.
Uh-oh.
Of course, he said, well, it's not mine. Well, you can take that two ways. Well, no, of course it's not yours. It's stolen.
Stolen, right?
But he said, no, I'm not the one who stole it. Okay, all right. But the point is, to my knowledge, and I was just on with some guys in Alabama, and they couldn't remember. He didn't miss any time. In fact, he was the guy, you might recall, that he was arrested in Louisiana, which made it even more remarkable that he didn't get charges. But I guess the DA said, well, I'm sitting here in my air-conditioned office, and some of these kids didn't grow up as comfortably as I did, so I'm not going to. He ended up saying, well, wait, so now if you don't have air conditioning, you don't. But the point is, Cam Robinson didn't face any charges, and he, to my knowledge, didn't miss any time.
Right.
And so that's kind of a precedent.
Yeah, it is a precedent. And I think we should probably get Larry Tunsil on the show to kind of help us understand what the amount of weed and what that is. I think that'd be a good call. We can just call down to the Texans and try to get him on the show.
Okay, yeah. Any potheads out there listening, please. I'm just kidding.
No, don't call the show.
I'm saying don't call.
We couldn't talk to you anyway. We're not set up for calls right now, but we are set up for text messages. So I appreciate everybody there on the A&B text line. OB. So I did a little research though going into this, and I'm looking at the A&M wide receiver situation. If it is a game, if it's no games, if it's 3 games, there really isn't a lot of, I don't want to say depth because there is depth, a lot of experience or a lot of receptions in the wide receiver spot for Texas A&M. You're looking at it, only Anias, of all the wide receivers, not including Jalen Wademeyer at tight end, had more than 20 receptions on the roster.
Yeah, you had some injury issues part of that, with Chase Lane missing some games, and
Caleb
Chapman always missed games. You're right, but did you, and I wouldn't want to go into a game against Miami or Arkansas without Anias.
Right.
But in that game, did you not see enough, if you're talking about Sam Houston, who, by the way, I'm not trying to disrespect Sam Houston. I know what they've accomplished over the last 4 or 5 years or longer, but did you not see enough, or at least flashes, from Moose and Jalen Preston, especially Jalen Preston against LSU, to think, okay, for a game, I get those guys some work, and I can still feel pretty decent.
I looked at some numbers today. Moose Muhammad last year only had 10 receptions. Not a lot. But do you know that almost half of his receptions were for touchdowns?
Yeah.
He had 4 touchdowns. Get that man the ball.
Well, the problem is he was playing behind Anias.
Right.
so yeah, you want to get him the ball, but you want to take Anias off the field.
No. So, but I guess what we're saying is, if he has to be off the field, maybe it's not as scary.
Again, I liked what I saw from Anias, and I liked what I saw in that, especially in the LSU game from Jalen
Preston. Yep.
So if you have to go against Sam Houston without Anias, I think at least for a game and maybe 2. And I don't think it'll come to that, but if it does, I think you can feel still pretty good about what you have out there, because you have guys that have shown in small sample size that they can do some things with the football.
How much do you think NIL will be a part of the conversation today with Jimbo? Because if you listen to all the coaches, I feel like in their opening monologue, in their Jimmy Kimmel Live opening skit, they're all making references to how their team is doing with NIL.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be brought up more than once.
Yep.
It seems like that everybody, like you mentioned, every other coach has been asked about it,
and they've opened up with it.
Right, and Jimbo, of course, I don't know if they'll ask him about NIL pertaining to his conversations with Nick Saban,
right,
or exchanges with Nick Saban, but I think there'll be some. His opinion will be asking, how to, where it's going and how to control it. And I don't know that anybody knows how to control it.
No, there's no like set recipe to control it at this point, but I do know that it's a big part of what everybody's talking about. Well, later on in That's Bullcrap, I got something that I think is bullcrap because it's kind of funny how the narrative changes depending on the audience. So we'll talk about that here on the program. Anaya Smith, obviously a big part of it, but Jimbo will be here later on today. Damani Richardson will be here later on today, and Layden Robinson. So we'll have some good representation here from Texas A&M, and we will talk about that when we come back. When we come back, also, we are going to be talking a little Tennessee football here on the program. Right now, though, I want to talk about the Association of Former Students. They've been around for a long time, over 140 years. Your financial gifts have empowered them to be here, to be there, to be everywhere. We're talking over 140 years, and we really appreciate what the association has been doing for current students and former students, because that's what they do. They love to give back. They give back with scholarships. They help out the Aggie Band, the Silver Taps, Ring Day, Class Reunion, Muster, Tailgate, Traveling Aggies. That is what the association does, and they do it better than anybody out there. And if you ever stop and like, I wonder why they do this, they do it because of you, with that voice. They do it because of you. They have all these programs and these traditions to help out Aggies everywhere because they care about your future and your now. And that's why I'm encouraging you to check out IamTheWhy.com. That's a collection of stories that they have put together to share what the association has been a part of, and all these Aggie stories that you can upload your story as we speak. It's on there. So go to IamTheWhy.com. Check out these great stories. It is IamTheWhy.com, the Association of Former Students.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. The Bush Library invites students ages 7 to 11 to their Exploring History Camp. 4-day camps take place in July and include art activities, science experiments, geography exploration, and games. Visit bush41.org to learn more. Shine a light for survivors at the Sexual Assault Resource Center's An Evening Under the Stars event on Friday, September 9th. Sponsorship and ticket opportunities are now available. Visit sarcbv.org for more information. Pink Alliance is proud to present Olympian and breast cancer survivor Shantae Lowe as this year's speaker for the 19th annual Surviving and Thriving Luncheon, Wednesday, September 28th at the Hilton. Purchase your tickets at survivingandthriving.org. For more information about becoming a master gardener, visit brazosmg.com. You can hear Astros baseball all summer long on the Zone thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. Before construction starts on any new business or home, make your first thought Kelly Burt Dozer. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
We're here with Jason Rollo of Rollo Insurance. Jason, when we say the difference is real, what does that mean?
Let's take the term real, R-E-A-L. Rates, education, assets, and life. And here's what I mean. People think insurance is about rates, and although those are important, it's really about education of the product you're buying so we can protect the assets of people, and we want to do that for life. Insurance is about taking care of people, and that's what we mean when we say the difference is real.
For more information, go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Corbello, and I'm the editor and creative coordinator for Bryan Broadcasting Publications. We produce the best of the Brazos Valley, Brazos Valley Bride, Brazos Life, and several other quality magazines. I'll be leaving soon to pursue freelancing opportunities, so there will be a job opening here. Are you creative? Enjoy all aspects of design, crafting stories, and content? Well, you sound like the perfect match for the job. We use Adobe Creative Suite and have a staff and artist to back you up. You have to be creative and attentive to detail because deadlines matter. We have lots of art resources, including in-house design. Bryan Broadcasting is a great place to work. The environment and people are unmatched. Added bonus, there's a huge freezer full of ice cream. I couldn't have asked for a better place to thrive and grow. I've thoroughly enjoyed my 7 years here, and I know you will too. If you're interested in applying, please reach out to careers@bryanbroadcasting.com.
The Louis Bellina Show and Field of Family would love for you and your family to have the bestest, greatest summer ever. Enter now, go to zone1150.com, and you can win a Texas Summer Survival Kit. Go to Fiesta, Texas, Six Flags. Go to Cinemark Theater. Go to a Brazos Valley Bombers game. Win a gift card to Superior Auto Service and Field of Family. Enter now. You can win Treat the Family to a Texas Summer Survival Kit. Go to zone1150.com.
Keep that playing. Yeah, don't mind it. You know this song?
I don't, but it sounds like it would have been good for that big fat Jamaican ganja joint that I saw. But when I didn't partake, but I saw it when I was in Jamaica a couple years ago.
Today Was a Good Day by the great O'Shea Jackson.
Okay, so that has nothing to do with Jamaica.
No, but I mean, there's some implications of the song.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
The great O'Shea Jackson is
Irish.
Similar. He's got an I. Ice Cube.
Oh.
There you go. It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is day 4 of SEC Media Days, and this roadshow is brought to you by Wings and More. And they are Aggieland's favorite wings, so much more as well. Every Thursday is Big Willie Thursday. All 32-ounce of domestic drafts and house margaritas are $4.50 from 2 to close. Wings and More is on University Drive. OB, let's talk about some of the teams that are going to be talking today. I'm really intrigued by Tennessee because I think that they could be a hit or they could be a failure. They're in that zone that, like, I think people were reading too much into their offense last year. That being said, how can you not be impressed by Hendon Hooker?
Well, yeah, I thought he looked good. They had, and I guess the game, I don't have his numbers in front of me, but I guess the game that made you say, okay, this guy's pretty legitimate is when they beat Kentucky. I think it was like, I can't remember if they went in overtime or not, but it was like 48-45 or 45-42. But beyond that, I mean, all the hype about Tennessee, and I get it. And if you know, I'd like if and when we're talking to the Tennessee guys, I want to say, you know, what is all this newfound optimism based on? What's the source of it? Because they still went 7-6.
Yep.
And I wonder if it's similar to one of those years under Jeremy Pruitt. They closed kind of fast. I think they might have beat Indiana in a bowl game.
Sure.
And they finished around 8-5 or 7-6, and there was a lot of optimism, and then it didn't work out, and he gets fired the next year. Well, they went 7-6.
Well, I think the reason for optimism goes to the quarterback,
Hendon Hooker.
Hendon Hooker, who his numbers on the year almost threw for 3,000 yards. Remember, he didn't start the season, but he threw for 31 touchdowns and just 3 interceptions.
Well, yeah, you'll take that, obviously. The 3 interceptions to me is even more impressive than the touchdowns. You know, you got to take care of the football. But I always say, you know, look at the company. What did he do against Georgia? I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
you know, what did he do against the really good teams that they played?
Well, let's take a look at that as my slow internet starts to open it up, because I think nobody did well against Georgia, to be honest. But that being said, his QBR was actually pretty low. If you consider 31-3, you would think it would be higher. 77.9 were his numbers out there. So I'm looking at some of these games. He threw for 316 against Kentucky. He threw for 244 against Georgia. Not bad, 24 of 37. They threw a lot. They lost 41-17. They beat, let's see, what's another game I can get you? Vanderbilt, he only threw for 156 yards.
Probably didn't need to.
Yep, and against Purdue, he threw for 378.
Yeah, so, you know, I really don't know how good most of those defenses were, except for obviously Georgia.
Yep.
I'm not trying to take anything away from Hendon Hooker. I'm just have to admit that I didn't follow Tennessee as closely as I used to last year. And I still look at the bottom line was they went 7-6.
In the bowl game versus Purdue, He threw for 378, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. His last interception was against Georgia, which is believable. Then he had a stretch with 5 games with no interceptions against Florida, who was then number 11, Mizzou, South Carolina, Ole Miss. He threw another interception there against Alabama.
Well, how did that Purdue game come out?
They ended up losing in overtime, 48-45.
So he played great. He kept them in the game, basically.
Yeah, he kept them in the game. So, look, they're one of those teams I would not be surprised by anything. You know what? Kind of like Mississippi State, though. If you look at their schedule, it's going to be hard to be good. When you play the teams that they have to play every year, it's hard.
And see, my take is I don't know if that's the case with Tennessee being in the East.
Right.
I mean, yeah, Georgia, absolutely. But Florida's been down.
Sure.
Kentucky is solid, but they're not great. So again, that's when you say it's the source is with Hendon Hooker, I absolutely get that, and he did play well. And if you have a good quarterback, you feel like you're going to have a good team. But that said, I still wonder how good some of those teams were that he did so well against.
So I'm looking at their schedule this year, OB, just to play the game for a moment. They open up with Ball State. Then they are on the road at Pitt, Akron. They host Florida. Then they're at LSU. Then they host Alabama, Tennessee Martin, Kentucky, Georgia, Missouri, South Carolina, and Vandy.
Okay, and if they're making the strides that it sounds like they're making, now I'm still going to take Georgia. I'm still going to take Alabama, obviously, and
Kentucky could be
and maybe Kentucky and LSU are coin flips.
Yep.
But you would think that you'd probably unless Florida figures something is as bad as Florida was last year and as improved as Tennessee was, Florida still beat them.
Yeah.
So I just guessing still see Tennessee as a 7, maybe 8-win team when it's all said and done.
Yeah, look, if they get that kind of quarterback play all season long and he can win one of those games that we expect them to lose, then the narrative completely changes.
Absolutely.
They remind me, and I said this, and you'll hear it in the interview later with Josh Pate, there's an there's an Arkansas vibe to them that there's a lot of hype around them. Now, with Arkansas, they proved it in the middle of the season beating quality teams. They beat a Texas team that won 5 games, so maybe that's not quality. But they did beat A&M. They got some big victories. But I still am not convinced about them, and that's how I feel about Tennessee.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And both of those teams have quarterbacks that are coming back from good years, and trying to build on them.
Yeah.
So that's probably fair. There's probably is a lot they have in common. I think maybe Tennessee has the better returning receiver. But yeah, you know what? Here's the thing about Tennessee. Can you tell me one player on their defense?
No, absolutely not. I cannot. I can't.
Yeah, I can't. And maybe if A&M played them, we would
be
more familiar with them. But again, they lost to Purdue 48-45, and I don't think they're a good defensive team. But I know a lot of teams would take their quarterback.
Quickly on Auburn, I feel like we've seen with A&M, like we've seen with a lot of schools, there's this it's the offseason is too long, and then the storylines kind of evolve, right? So Auburn's on fire. They're terrible. Now we're here at SEC Media Days. Hey, they got a lot of talent. And their defense is always good, and Zach Calzada could be good. And so that's how it changes. But when I look at their schedule and I know what they've gone through and the amount of players that they lost, granted, I don't know how good those players are. You see all of that, I think Auburn's going to be a train wreck.
I think historically Auburn, for some reason, is best when people think they're going to be a train wreck, and I think they're going to be a train wreck. But I don't think they're going to be able to flip that narrative this year. They're going to be good on defense, especially the defensive line.
Always good, yeah.
Their defensive line is going to be pretty good. And, they have nice linebackers. Papineau came back. But I just don't believe in their offensive line at all. I know they're all back practically, but they couldn't run block. They couldn't pass protect. Their Their group of receivers is average at best. And, they've got Tank Bigsby, who's a big-time talent, but you got to block for him.
Crack reporter Richard Zane reporting there from Brian Harsin, who's speaking to the media as we speak right now. He says that Harsin addressed the February inquiry during his opening statement, and that was that's what he really opened with. Other than that, he spoke about Calzada joining the program and not being able to practice in the spring because he got injured against, of all teams, Auburn.
Yeah. Zach, I think, will probably be better for Auburn than he was for A&M, with the exception of one game, because he'll get healthy, and but I don't know if he'll be able to stay healthy. And he'll have a year of starting experience under his belt.
All right,
but he won't have as much talent around him as he had at A&M.
Let's hit a break. We're going to come back with Ryan Fowler, who covers Alabama. We'll chat with him in a minute. Right now, we're talking about Heritage Films. Got an email yesterday about, hey, tell me a little bit more about Heritage Films. I hear you talking about it. Is it really all that? Yes, it is really all that. Chance McClain is such I'd say an artistic genius when it comes to telling stories and telling your story. He did it for my family, and I think I've told you guys 117 times. We're going to give my dad that gift here in about a little more than a week. He turns 92 on July 31st, and we're going to share his story that he was a part of, obviously. They interviewed him back in November, and we got it a couple months back, but we've been saving it for a family moment where we can all be together. And it's just going to be, I've seen it. I love it. My boys have watched it with me. It was just a phenomenal film, and he can do that for your family as well. You should call him up or check out his website, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. When you call him, ask him his favorite character in Star Wars. He'll answer for you. You can check out the website as well, yourheritagefilm.com, yourheritagefilm.com. It's Heritage Films.
Who cares if he's wearing a medium and tight pants?
3, 2, 1, go.
It's TexAgs Radio with David Nuno on the Zone.
Swing free all summer long at Big Shots Golf. Get your Hot Shot Summer Pass and enjoy perks you won't want to miss. With the Hot Shot Summer Pass at Big Shots Golf, you'll get 2 hours of tee box time for up to 6 people per day. Plus, kids 12 and under eat free on Mondays, and you get special summer perks valued up to $200. Get the Big Shots Golf Hot Shot Summer Pass today while supplies last. Buy yours today at BigShotsGolf.com or swing by.
You know us through the Aggie Ring and our work helping current and former students. You also know that we work to uphold our traditions and help bring Aggies together around the world. We are the Association of Former Students, and it's our mission to provide resources, support programs, and cultivate the experiences that you know and love. But have you ever stopped and wondered why? Why does the association support Texas A&M and Texas Aggies? Why are we always here, there, and everywhere for the Aggie Network? Why do we tirelessly work to ensure that the Aggie experience is both unforgettable and life-changing? Well, you may be surprised to learn that the answer to why is as unique as your own Aggie story. That's why we created IamTheWhy.com, a place for shared Aggie stories and unique perspectives. It's where you can hear the why, see the why, and discover why Aggies like you are the why. Visit IamTheWhy.com today.
Here's Brad Beard of Intercon.
If you have considered replacing the windows in your brick veneer home, you may have been told that it would be necessary to either remove the brick or tear up the inside of your window box. You need to know that Intercon replaces windows and brick every day, and we don't tear up anything except the window which is being removed. By installing windows every day, Intercon personnel have worked out methods which result in the replacement windows being at least as neat and effectively installed as your windows were when they were new. This means that Intercon can furnish and install replacement windows which exceed today's tighter standards for efficiency. They look and perform just as well as the best windows in brand new homes. Call Intercon or visit our showroom and we will furnish you customer references for homes you can look at and homeowners you probably know who can tell you that Intercon can solve your window problems without wrecking your home or your budget, just as we did theirs. Intercon will furnish a free quote and we won't pressure you to buy.
Whether you have new construction or an existing home, let the fine folks from Intercon help your home energy efficiency year-round. Call Brad Beard of Intercon today at 823-3639. That's 823-3639.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Dennis in Raleigh, North Carolina.
So what 19 said today about...
Dennis, you stop referring to this man as 19. You are...
Why? Man, Jay, whenever
like
you
little
see
kid
me walking
grinning
around wherever I'm at and
Carolinas and we running each other, you could always say, hey, 19, how you doing?
Can I say one more thing about 19?
Spend your mornings with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor. Mornings from 5 to 8 here on The Zone.
Definitely one of Olin's favorite songs. Who is that, Shania Twain? No, it's not Shania Twain. We don't hear Olin. That's all right. There, Obi?
George Strait.
George Strait.
Yeah,
I was kidding, by the way.
Okay.
It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Wings and More brings you this roadshow, SEC Media Days Day 4. We are joined by our Alabama insider, good friend Ryan Fowler. The Game on 100.9. You can hear that Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 on 100.9. What's up, my man?
Man, it's good to be here. It's good to be able to see you guys. And just like I said when I sat down, the headset, I mean, they look at the nice computers you guys have got, equipment. Y'all got tons of money out in College Station. See, we're broke in Tuscaloosa. We've followed Alabama around all over the country. We've spent retirement funds, college funds. I mean, there's kids in Alabama that won't go to college because their parents have spent their college fund traveling to games, but
or on NIL that Nick Saban bragged about being the best in the country.
No, he's just bragging. He's trying to get those motivation and those boosters to ante it up and
to take even more money away from their children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But no, it's I'll say this. I'd like to thank Jimbo Fisher personally, publicly. He's provided a lot of great content in Tuscaloosa. A lot of great content. And I know you guys probably want to thank Nick Saban, right?
Well, of course, because, it
was not a dead summer this year.
It was not. It hasn't been for a while.
So from your perspective, do you understand, because I feel like it depends on what chair you sit in, the coach's perspective. From your chair, do you understand why Jimbo was ticked off?
Well, I think he probably should have gave himself another hour. I think you guys got the email, according to what I've been told, the press release, 9:23 and a 10 o'clock press conference.
Something like that.
Yeah. So that tells me, and I think if he even talked with Greg Sankey, I thought that maybe that would calm things down if you kind of learn some back channel things about it. I understand why he reacted. I get it. It's the same thing that when he reacted to Lane Kiffin, right? I mean, it was not the same day, but I think he called him a clown, and that was National Signing Day. You lead into, and Jimbo is one of those guys, you don't have to ask him what he's thinking. He's already told you, right? Yeah. And so you kind of, I'm sure you like to cover a guy like that. You don't have to dig too much. And I'd like to, I'm going to be excited to hear what he has to say today. Is there a different tone, or is that same energy that he showed even in Sandestin?
Well, there was a different tone even then.
Well, no, there was. I mean, he'd probably had a little bit more time to calm down a little bit.
Well, I think, and they had Sankey there.
But the problem is here. Here's what it is. You got two guys. Oh, and if I didn't give a darn about you, and you said something bad about me, it's like, no big deal. But what it was, these were buddies.
Yeah.
These were buddies. These guys were tight. And when something is said about between those guys, I think that's what probably hurt them the most, because it was a tight-knit relationship. I've heard Nick Saban talk about Jimbo Fisher is his favorite offensive coordinator. And right there in a press conference. So I think there was a great relationship there.
But isn't that why he was upset, though? Because there's a code that Nick passed. He went through, there's a bro code. We all understand the code.
Absolutely.
And even if Nick had his reasons for it, you brought up how impulsive or the quick reaction from Jimbo. To me, it wasn't impulsive, because we've been hearing those same comments since November. And by the time the summer came, he had it.
I think Ryan was right to a certain degree, though, because it was laughed off when it was sliced bread.
Right.
It was irritating when it was Lane Kiffin. And then it was hurtful
when it's your buddy.
When it was
when it's your friend.
Saban, yeah.
And so when you look at that relationship, the problem, and listen, everybody has a bad moment. I've covered Nick Saban for 15 years. I can go ahead and write the quote for Utah State's team the week of. He's as programmed as anybody, tremendous amount of respect. The guys that transcribe his press conference, I mean, they may have that tremendous respect on like a word, like a code, like a F1 button, because they can put it in. He always respects the opponent, And for that 4 or 5 minutes, he let his guard down.
Yep.
And that's something that I add to the value, and this is probably something that your listeners are not going to like. But what was it that brought him out? Like, I've covered him since he got off the plane. I've never seen him talk negative about a team. Even when, you got teams out here doing this and doing that and probably has a little bit of a reason to be upset, he's always said, tremendous amount of respect. We respect our opponents. They played great. Hey, man, they got some awesome teams over there. They got a great football player. They got this. That guy will play in the NFL. Just all kind of things. And then for this one moment, he went negative. And I mean, guys, you go back and look at his press conferences. I know that was not a press conference, but even media availabilities, interviews, he rarely says anything negative. And so to draw him out, what happened?
Got his ass kicked in recruiting is what happened. And so that's why when I went to
So
Destin,
was he explaining to his fan base?
No, he was trying to get money from them.
That was it. But if he gets kicked again.
So he could pay for NIL.
I do believe absolutely, because I've heard that at times the NIL fund has not been where it needed to be. And so.
But everybody thinks that the A&M fund is this grand
which
fund.
was ridiculous.
Yeah, but y'all got more money. Y'all raised $600 million in like 20 minutes out there.
But that's why I asked him in Destin, what evidence did you have that they paid for the class? And the fact is, he tried to skirt that, and that's why I went back. No, he said, I didn't say they did anything wrong. You said they bought their entire class, and then he got flustered and
I know it was a get back
and
comment,
I asked him if Jimbo lied.
Kind of made some allegations against Nick Saban.
He did,
too.
and you know what? If you'll recall, Napier and Kirby were asked about that.
Today?
Hey, did you ever? No, in Destin, and both of them were like, "Well, no, they're both great coaches."
See what happened?
Neither one of them took that. So I'm just saying, this all started because look, I'm sure it's the same way in Alabama as in Texas. You hit somebody in Alabama, they're probably going to come back and hit you back harder. If you throw the first punch, I'm going to hit you back harder. Right. And that's what happened.
But
Nick
we also
Saban
had
threw
a
the
coach.
first.
I mean, we had a coach in Jimbo Fisher who said that Nick Saban needed to be slapped. I mean, I've never heard that in my entire life. I mean, there's some comments. I mean, even though Nick Saban did wrong, there was also some wrong from Jimbo Fisher.
Sure. I mean,
sure.
But
I'll give you that.
Sure. That can be true. But again, when somebody you feel continues to cross the line, okay? And I think Jimbo feels like coaches in this negative recruiting that's out there has crossed the line, and now it was on video for everybody to see. And then there's a slice, and all this came from a freaking message board. There's no evidence of anything. And by the way, it's legal. And if Alabama's so upset about the recruiting that A&M's doing, they finished second. And he bragged yesterday or whatever it was that they had the best NIL class.
But there's a different reason why you come to Tuscaloosa and go to Texas A&M, right? I mean, what's that difference? Well, the difference is they're going to be playing for championships. I mean, it's been 8-4, 4-4 in the SEC. So you're offering them now. You may be building something.
Yeah, they had to build it.
Sure, and that's maybe this is the recruiting class that launches that program. But I think since they come in the league, have they been more than the year that COVID? They finished 5th in the country, correct?
9-1.
Fourth. They finished 4th, but they should have been in the playoffs.
Should have been. I mean, I think they had a great conversation.
And I don't think they would have beaten Alabama had they gotten in.
No.
But so when you look at Texas A&M, I think that's what grabbed our attention is you had a program that was, and this is just removed Nick Saban from an outsider. You're looking at it going, wow. How many other 8-4 teams went out and did what you guys were able to do in recruiting? I mean,
but how many times has Jimbo Fisher in his career recruited in a top 10 chip? Pretty much most of his career.
And if you really do your homework, even before A&M has recruited well even before Jimbo.
Yeah,
it's not like.
But now the recruiting coordinator kind of gave us a little idea of how recruiting. Didn't you guys get that video?
It's not the recruiting coordinator.
What are you talking about?
The coach or what?
That guy's not even a coach.
Well, what is he? He's taking recruits around. I mean,
he's a low-level grad, somebody. I didn't even know who he was. I had to go find out who he was.
So what is he? I mean, but he's on staff, though, right?
He's not part of the coaching staff.
No, he's not part of the coaching staff.
So he was just a guy that was in the building, and he didn't escort those recruits around. I mean,
I think.
But that story got buried quickly because I think there was some realignment happened like the day of, and it was like boom.
I remember what happened. I said, who is this guy?
But
And I'm still not 100% sure.
Did he say anything that was wrong?
If that's your smoking gun, then
No, but
then
I mean, I think when
then I wouldn't want to be the attorney.
Flip it around. Let's say that you've got a Nick Saban coach. Let's say that I don't know, assistant GA analyst, whatever, and you get a video of him saying, "Hey, you see those suites up there? See those guys up there? Those are the ones that are going to pay you a bunch of money."
Yeah, I would say that's pretty much what NIL collectives
that's
are.
What they do.
That's what NIL collectives are.
Well, and obviously y'all's rule in the state of Texas may be different than Alabama, but I don't think you could be involved with the school. I mean, we're still, and that's the entire problem that most of us are ignoring.
Was he that guy? Yeah, and I'm sure he had been taken to task for that, even though I would suspect, I should say. But he said, yeah, those guys up there, they pay you money. But that's
he said he'll pay you a lot of money if you decide to come here and play. So he's talking.
You must have seen a much longer video than I saw.
Probably 30 seconds, 40 seconds.
Let me ask you a question. University of Texas goes 5-7. Right now, they have the greatest recruiting class of all time.
Now I'm going to be on y'all's side.
No, but hold on. And there's pictures of them doing the exact same thing. I'm pretty sure every school is doing what Texas did, what A&M did, what Alabama did.
And maybe that's the issue in that state. I think that Greg Sankey told us, I think it was 33 different states that have their own legislative body. Okay, so what may be legal in Texas A&M and Texas Tech and TCU, other places may be illegal, and that may be the entire problem of the.
Well, that is the entire problem.
So, like in the state of Alabama, they were trying to get this adjusted. I walk up, literally, we had players that contacted us, NIL. So I immediately go to Sports Information, and I say, guys. There's a couple of players that are contacting me about an NIL deal. What's the proper channels? And they looked at me and said, we can't be involved. I mean, as a university employee, we're not in that side. That's all up to the player, his agent, and you. And I said, well, at some point, I mean, do I not need to notify you that I've got an interview with these guys? No. I mean, you. And so we're all learning this. Like they're just non-touchy. They don't even want the questions asked. They've told us in the press conference. They said, if you want to ask about NIL deal, you have to do it off here. We cannot allow a player to sit behind a billboard, script A, and endorse a product, which is maybe the Alabama rule is a little bit different. So maybe that's.
Well, the Texas rule is that you, as a university, cannot promise a guy or broker an NIL deal.
Right.
But like I said, if that's the smoking gun, that some low-level grad.
Well, I think it was just that was not the launching pad. It was just.
And by the way, that A&M class, if the majority or a big part of it had already been committed before NIL was. I mean, you can go through if you do your homework.
Connor Wegman,
which I decided that I'm sure Ryan's different, but I'm starting to wonder how much the folks in Alabama do homework. But if you do your homework, you find out that A&M's recruiting class and Nick Saban's comments started all that. They didn't have to be paying all these guys.
Ryan, I'm sorry, OB. But
no, you go ahead.
If you look at, and I just want for you to illustrate to your audience, and you can see it. If you look at A&M's recruiting class last year, a huge chunk of it came from the city of Houston. Okay, if you take just the city of Houston alone, they would have had a top 11 class in the country. Those guys, you know how recruiting is today. It's all about being buddies. All right, Connor Wegman was an Aggie very early on in the process. And as you're seeing with Arch Manning at Texas, when you've got that quarterback that kind of galvanizes a recruiting class. Then they also had Bobby Taylor, which I don't know if you know much about Bobby, the son of Bobby Taylor, who played in the NFL for a long time. He also became the recruiting coordinator, if you will, of that class. So it's if Jimbo already recruits at a top 7 clip usually, and Houston alone gave you a top 11 class.
And throw in there that Oklahoma changed coaches.
And that 8-4 team did beat Alabama
LSU
on national TV.
And Sark is probably going to be fired in a couple of years, right?
Yeah, he might be.
I mean, I don't think he'll make it.
Well,
his personality.
He's recruiting well. So you know, if you base on his recruiting.
But he's got a problem that we had in 2007. It's a booster problem. I
agree with that.
He's got to be able to. He's got to have the personality to look at those guys and say, "Hey, get out of my way. Let me coach football." I don't think his personality matches up with that. But to go back, I mean, it's kind of like the guy that's on $30,000 a year, $40,000 a year, and he pulls up in a brand new Lamborghini. It's like, whoa. I'm talking about just outside of football, right? You know a guy, the guy's a police officer, he's a teacher, whatever. He pulls up in the office, and it's like a Lamborghini. It's like, how'd you get that one? Did you get the lottery?
But the point David was making is A&M maybe not have been pouring up in the Lamborghini, but they've been driving up in a BMW.
Yeah.
Well,
for years.
Hey, listen, you go to any football lot in the SEC, they're pretty impressive cars.
Yeah, they are.
They're really supercars.
We got to hit a break. You got 10 seconds.
No, go ahead to the break.
All right. Brian, thank you so much, brother.
We cannot wait to see you guys.
Let me hang.
I'm looking forward to it.
Here's the handshake.
We didn't get to talk about football.
All right, Ryan Fowler, we appreciate him. The game 100.9. When we come back, that's bullcrap.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. The Boys and Girls Club track program is raising money to send 11 athletes to the state track meet this weekend. Donate to the Race to State campaign at bgcbv.org/track. Hundreds of books geared to young readers will go on sale Saturday, August 20th at the Mounts Library in downtown Bryan. The special one-day sale features books for newborns to age 12. Doors open to members of the Bryan College Station Friends of the Library at 9 a.m. and the general public at 10 a.m. The 16th annual Voices for Children Casa Golf Classic is Monday, November 7th at Miramont. Sponsorship opportunities are now available. Find the event at vfcbrazos.org for more information. Submit your nonprofit event to news at WTAW.com. Every Thursday night when the Brazos Valley Bombers are home, it's Thirsty Thursday, brought to you by The Zone. $1 beer, soda, or water. It's Thirsty Thursday, brought to you by The Zone. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Corbello, and I'm the editor and creative coordinator for Bryan Broadcasting Publications. We produce the best of the Brazos Valley Bride, Brazos Life, and several other quality magazines. I'll be leaving soon to pursue freelancing opportunities, so there will be a job opening here. Are you creative? Enjoy all aspects of design, crafting stories, and content? Well, you sound like the perfect match for the job. We use Adobe Creative Suite and have a staff and artists to back you up. You have to be creative and attentive to detail because deadlines matter. We have lots of art resources, including in-house design. Bryan Broadcasting is a great place to work. The environment and people are unmatched. Added bonus, there's a huge freezer full of ice cream. I couldn't have asked for a better place to thrive and grow. I've thoroughly enjoyed my 7 years here, and I know you will too. If you're interested in applying, please reach out to careers@bryanbroadcasting.com.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, and Rudy's Barbecue. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Hi, popular sports talk host Chip Howard, letting you know I'm back and so excited for the new season. There's no question we're young, but I do like our talent. I like the way everyone has worked this offseason, getting stronger and faster. If we can just stay away from injuries and take it one show at a time, I think we have the chance to be pretty good. Find out for yourself. Weekdays from 4 to 6 on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, The Zone.
There was a time that Alabama fans were coming after Olin Buchanan for his commentary on Reuben Fothery and Will Anderson Jr. And now they're coming for Ryan Fowler after his commentary about it 8-4 on the Aggies. It's TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Thanks to Wings and More for bringing you to this road show. Remember, they have that express location in Conroe, located on Highway 105, 3 miles west of 45. OB, text messages, my tweets. People didn't like Ryan. By the way, I like Ryan a lot.
Ryan's a nice guy.
Well,
I think he's from Lubbock, actually.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. That may be wrong, but I know he has some kind of background in Lubbock. So that'll make Aggies like him even less.
Yeah. It was an interesting conversation because I think what was important is that's how people look at what A&M did without as you say, doing the homework. And I guess fans will say, I don't have to do homework. I see what I see. You guys were 8-4 last year. I believe what I want to believe, just like we believe. How does Texas get this class going 5-7?
Right, and losing to Kansas. I always throw that in.
It always makes me laugh.
I throw that in. You gotta put that you get to use that for a whole year.
Yep. Hey, by the way, it's time for That's Bullcrap, presented by Tom Line Plumbing. For service you can trust, consider Tom Line Plumbing, a great friend of Stephen McGee, longtime trusted plumber in and around the Brazos Valley. The website is tomlineplumbing.com. All right, OB, what's bullcrap?
Yeah, I don't know. I have to admit that I've been so locked in at SEC Media Days all week that I haven't really looked at anything else. Maybe the narrative out of Alabama that has just been revisited, that we just revisited. I think I tried to call him on it and tell him that's bullcrap. I don't know if he
well, that was bullcrap.
I don't know if he buys it, but it did make for some good debate.
Well, at the end of the day, OB, Aggie fans are going to believe what they want to believe, and Alabama fans are going to believe what they want to believe. And if you want to go do the research and look it up, it's there. It's out there. It's out there. And
the truth is out there.
And I'm sorry, I really believe the Houston part of the conversation
that's huge.
This year, there's not a lot of Houston talent. Well, right now, look at, it's been a little slower with recruiting.
And I would even say if A&M was paying for all their players and all that, then why didn't they get everybody they wanted?
Yeah.
Because there was an offensive lineman or two that went to Texas that A&M would like to have. They would have loved to have a linebacker that went
Harold
to
Perkins,
LSU. Yeah. There's some other guys they wanted that they didn't get. But if they're paying everybody and nobody else was, but that part of the logic, that part of the conversation doesn't resonate in Alabama or anywhere else for that matter. I'm picking on Alabama because of Saban, but everywhere else.
Well, my bullcrap, because I'm not going to use the same one, okay? My mind is going to be that, and I'm kind of kidding here, that have you ever watched the show MTV Cribs?
I've heard of it.
All right, they come in here, this is my Lambo, this is my house, I got the best martini make, whatever, okay? That's what I feel like it's been on the podium for NIL and these SEC coaches, because yesterday Kirby says we have the best NIL fund out there. Nick said it the other day. And here we are. It's Jimbo Day. It's an MTV Cribs. This is what we can do. It's become a political race.
They're recruiting.
Yeah,
is what they're doing, because everybody's going to see that and they want to say, no. We have the best. Come see us because we're going to give you a ton of money.
Yeah.
So, but and you know what it is? What's bullcrap is that they're resorting to that, and what's bullcrap is that somebody's lying.
Right.
And it's Clark Lee who said that someday.
Vanderbilt.
That should have been my bullcrap when he said that Vanderbilt was going to have the best program in the country.
Yeah. Well, they're a very smart school. All right, let's do this. OB, thank you for the Go Hour. It was good to finally have it. And when we come back, Billy Lucci will be on the program. We will talk with Luch about all the things happening today. We'll get Josh Pate on the show, recorded that interview a little earlier. A lot of other stuff going on as well. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
What if one day you went to your secret hiding place? That spot that only you know about? And instead of what you came for, you found something a little different. What if instead of your private stash, you found a simple phone number, 1-800-662-HELP? What would you do? Would you stop and give it some thought? Would you make the call? The truth is, all drug use comes with risk. Before those risks become real, before drugs turn your life upside down, before drugs take their toll on you and your family, know that there is help. You can quit. If you or someone you love is struggling with drug use or prescription drug misuse, call 1-800-662-HELP for 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/thereishelp.
Download podcast of your favorite shows, Louie, Chip, or TexAgs in the Pod Center at zone1150.com. Subscribe and have them downloaded daily for you in the Pod Center at zone1150.com. This is KZNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the zone. Northbound traffic on Highway 6 near Westward Ho was blocked for more than 2 hours yesterday after a car struck the rear of a stopped DPS patrol vehicle. The trooper who was not injured was assisting a stranded motorist who was also not injured. A TxDOT employee inside the patrol SUV was treated at the scene for undisclosed injuries. The driver of the car, 31-year-old Edric Peterson of Navasota, was taken to the hospital for treatment of undisclosed injuries. According to the DPS news release, Peterson will be facing undisclosed criminal charges. The 25th time that a 36-year-old Bryan man is booked in the Brazos County Jail. He's headed to prison after admitting to threatening 3 College Station police officers. The plea agreement between Jesus Davila Jr. and the district attorney's office involves an incident 2 years ago. The annual review of economic development agreements with 6 local corporations were part of this week's Brazos County Commission meeting. Commissioner Steve Aldrich gave a shout out to 2 of the 6.
Wow. Fujifilm Diosynth, what an amazing contribution that is to our community from an economic development perspective, as well as access to.
Fuji's agreement calls for a minimum 100 employees and a minimum payroll of $6 million. The Brazos Valley Economic Development Corporation reports Fuji's employment at 677 with a payroll of almost $55 million. Axis has a payroll of $14 million, which is almost $4 million above their requirement. Texas A&M has responded to WTW News' request for more of the nuts and bolts in the selection process of the new Commandant of the Corps of Cadets. More than 20 applied for the job, including at least 2 who work at the university. The person who was hired, General Patrick Michaelis, said he applied in part because becoming Commandant is something every cadet thinks about.
It also comes open once in a generation, and you look at the potential impact that you can have to continue to serve in a different capacity.
The search committee was comprised of 12 people. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Wolf Cleaning Services of Aggieland says texting and driving is a serious problem. Please use caution when driving. Safe driving is everyone's responsibility. This message is from Priscilla and the crew at Wolf Cleaning Services of Aggieland, equipped to handle all your home and office cleaning needs. They don't cut corners, they clean them. Call 979-618-1019. That's 979-618-1019. Wolf Cleaning Services of Aggieland, wishing everyone a safe and happy summer season.
Experience life and save at Moody Gardens. Introducing Rainforest of the World Dynamic Dwellers. As small creatures are doing big things in the Rainforest Pyramid. Dip into coastal life at the Aquarium Pyramid, Palm Beach, Beats on the Beach, the Colonel Paddle Wheel Boat, and dinner cruises. This August, have the time of your life at the Island Rideout and Bike Expo, Air Car and Boat Show, and a Dive Expo. Save with a value pass to Moody Gardens attractions, hotel and golf packages, and enjoy free Saturday fireworks. Island life at its best. Save at moodygardens.org.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on the Zone. The Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Texas A&M star wide receiver Anais Smith has been released on bond following an arrest for driving while intoxicated, unlawful carrying of a weapon, and possessing less than 2 ounces of marijuana. According to the arrest report from University PD, the arrest came just after 2 a.m. on Wednesday near College Station's Northgate district. Smith told the UPD officer that he had been passed out drunk. The officer observed 4 clues of intoxication. 2 breath alcohol samples were under the legal limit at .066 and .061. The officer also found a loaded handgun and a marijuana joint in the vehicle, which Smith denied owning. The junior from Missouri City, Texas, started all 12 games for the Aggies last season, leading the team with 47 receptions and 6 receiving touchdowns. He also ranked second on the squad with 509 receiving yards. Smith was scheduled to be one of 3 players to represent the Aggies today at SEC Media Days. Still no word on who, if anyone, will replace him. Former A&M national champion Shamir Little has advanced to the final in the women's 400-meter hurdles at the World Track and Field Championships. Meanwhile, men's mid-distance runners Donovan Brazier and Brandon Miller, javelin thrower Maggie Malone, and women's sprinter Cherokee Young all saw their runs come to an end. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On the Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Looking for podcasts of TexAgs Radio, The Louie Bellina Show, or Chip Howard? Look inside the Pod Center at zone1150.com. Don't miss a single rant, guest, or moment. You can download or subscribe to any and all of your favorite shows inside the Pod Center at zone1150.com. There's also a special selection where you can find select interviews from David, Louie, and Chip. Look up Zone interviews inside the Pod Center at zone1150.com. Download or subscribe, but don't miss out. Check out the Pod Center at zone1150.com.
And we are back. It's TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Day 4, SEC Media Days. It is A&M Day. And what's it called? We'll have Billy here in a moment. Trying to move this out of his way. We will have Jimbo speaking at the podium a little bit later this morning. We'll talk to Devontae Richardson, obviously, and Layden Robinson. This SEC Media Days Roadshow is brought to you by Wings & More, Aggie Land's favorite wings, burgers, ribs, chicken tenders, and seafood, voted the best wings in the Brazos Valley. Wings & More on University Drive. We are now joined by the executive editor and co-owner of TexAgs. Good morning, Mr. Lucci.
Good morning, Mr. Nuno. How are you today?
I am well today.
You're very
elegant,
very dressed sharply, dapper. What are we saying? Natalie Clabb. I think that means you'd almost be naked, so that's not it.
That we can say
that's
that.
wrong.
We're not sure yet.
Where is it? Scantily clad. I think he's Natalie Clabb.
Got the cufflinks out. It's A&M Day. It's a big day.
Cufflinks.
Yeah, buddy.
It's better than the baggies.
You were not a fan of the baggy jeans.
I've never seen anything like it.
Did you see his military jacket
Kennedy,
yesterday?
you should be recording this
military
part. This would be the best part.
You look like you were in your green beret, green jacket.
It was
yesterday.
proud.
We had. I walk up yesterday and I see Nuno, and I was taken aback.
You thought it was 1994 Nuno.
Outfit of the day at the 98 Media Days. I thought, here came David Nuno. I thought you'd taken us back to 1997, 98. I thought you were about to sit down and interview T. Martin. Maybe,
Steve Harvey.
Peyton Manning was here playing for Tennessee at the time. I thought you'd get Peyton Manning. I was like, I thought we went in a time warp.
So I will explain.
Those are the
to you.
baggiest pants I've seen this century.
They weren't my first choice. When I was packing, I just grabbed jeans.
I think they were Chris Cross's first choice.
Well, they were 7 jeans, believe it or not, which are usually tight. Those were not tight. Not tight at all. But are you approving of today?
I love that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's sharp.
Yeah,
See, I can give compliments too. I think you might be one
compared to Rainbow Zane today.
Oh man, those shoes on him are out of control. That's just trying too hard to make a statement. It's kind of like me with this hair right now.
Trying to make a statement.
Yeah.
I know you were not.
I look like I'm about to go open up like Lilith Fair. I'm playing somewhere between Natalie Merchant and like Sarah McLachlan.
Right.
I will remember you.
Kennedy's got this. You know what? I we'll get into football here in a second, but you love to quiz me on songs. You're like, you don't know the words. You have me sing it. If anything from the 80s, you don't think that I know it typically.
You just thought Shania Twain was George Strait. That's a fireable offense.
That I was joking.
In Texas, that's actually might be a criminal
You know
offense.
what? Good. Get me out of my misery, please. Please.
The heat. You know you're tired of the heat.
Hey, you were not able to listen to our interview with Ryan Fowler, but let's just say he doubled down on how A&M got the #1 recruiting class, 8-4. Come on, like really?
Did he?
Yeah.
Come on, Fowler. He didn't bring that up when I was on his show.
Oh no, he brought it up with us, and our
hopefully
text
y'all
line-
bludgeoned his ass.
Well, that's what's.
I like Ryan, but hopefully y'all bludgeoned his ass.
Well, that's what Twitter says. Twitter says we won, so I think that's but very nice guy.
He's the best, but you don't
He's
come
wrong.
saying that crap like without a response.
Right.
Just ask Jimbo. You don't say that and not get a response. Come on, Bama. Like, you guys have had the #1 class for 8,000 years, and 1 year another team does it, and it is the biggest cry fest. Meanwhile, your coach is down there 2 days ago talking about how they've got the best NIL setup going. Yep. You can't do both. Nick Saban, you can't go cry up in Washington, D.C. trying to get NIL regulated, but know that you can't let that get out publicly because it'll hurt you in recruiting when everybody starts saying, well, Nick Saban doesn't want NIL.
Right.
Then every recruit and their parents go, hey, we heard you don't want NIL. So you stand here and you say you want it, and you go around lobbying to get it regulated and strict and almost basically removed. Can't do that. So that's what I would have told him. I also would have said, save your energy for Texas. Because those fools went 5-7, got humiliated by Kansas, lost 6 straight games, and here they are, and they're kicking ass in recruiting right now. They're doing a great job to where, A&M's got to step their game back up here coming up in the next week or so.
So with a little bit of time away from the news, yesterday we reacted to the Anaya stuff. We're now 24 hours out from that announcement, and I'm not as worried as I was. And not that I was worried yesterday, but I'm not as worried as I was yesterday about Anias. Time missed. We'll have to wait to see how that is, but I'm not as worried, Billy.
Well, there's a lot that's come out, and I'm wondering why he was arrested based on the toxicology. I've talked to some people that have a little info there, and it's hard for me to figure out why he was arrested, and the gun was illegal only because
the other two
of the intoxication and the marijuana. Like, so I'm trying to figure out, I think this, and I've also heard that perhaps the cop may have been inexperienced, let's say. I'd be interested to see how this goes, but yeah, I feel a lot. I feel like, you shouldn't get behind the wheel when you've had a drink, and you're putting yourself at risk with any kind of drugs in the car, always, whether it's yours, whether it's someone else, any of it. Like, I don't do any of that. No, I haven't. I mean, I've drank and got behind the wheel. I was a college kid. Unfortunately, most of us have. But the other part, I've ridden in cars with friends that smoke all the time from college, even beyond college. And who knows? It's always a concern of mine. That's the one thing I've always been afraid of, like getting pulled over. Somebody, who knows? So I don't know the details of all that, but what I do know is this sounds a lot less serious than when you see just the words drunk, guns, drugs.
Yep.
That you could take that, pull aside, and go, man, that ain't good.
That's what I initially thought.
And it's still not good.
No.
Don't get me wrong. That's very poor judgment, all of the above. A lot of people have had poor judgment. Like I said yesterday, thank God no one was hurt. And I also know that Anias was going to work his way back out of this. But after hearing all that, I'm sitting there going, I'm not sure why everything shouldn't be thrown out. I'm not a lawyer. I'd have to find out. But I'm not sure why things shouldn't be thrown out. And I'm not sure why there should be a suspension at the end of the day. So we'll see where it goes. A lot of ifs, a lot of question marks will probably be resolved here, I would think, fairly shortly on the legal front. And then from there, if there needs to be any punishment, they can figure that out.
You think we get any clarity from Jimbo?
I still don't know why Jimbo can't exact the punishment. It's got to be the university for something like this. I don't get it. Sometimes I think Texas A&M gets in its own way.
So that's an A&M rule, not a state institution.
I have no idea with that, but the punishment, sometimes it is an example of A&M getting in its own way.
Do you think Jimbo gives us any clarity about it today?
No. I got to run.
All right. Thank you. That is Billy Lucci. He's busy. He's got another hit. He'll be with us here a little bit later. And then if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can text us here on the A&D text line. That number is 979-693-1150, 979-693-1150 is the number to text the A&D text line. I'm going to go to Dalton for a moment to see if he can update us on some of the rumblings out of SEC Media Days. I know we've had some coaches speak earlier this morning. It's Auburn, A&M, and Tennessee Day. Tennessee apparently was delayed getting here, but they are here in the building.
They are here in the building. It was pretty interesting. I don't know if it was something with the airplane, or as we mentioned in the first segment today, the weather here in Atlanta is kind of bad. I don't know what it was. They did make it on time. They are here. They are being interviewed. I think I saw Hendon Hooker, the Tennessee quarterback, on the set with the SEC Network crew. I think the only interesting thing I've seen today, David, was Brian Harson's comments on the main desk. Did you talk about those when I was walking away?
No. What were
we all know the offseason, the Harson stuff, the investigation by Auburn trying to get him fired. He didn't wait to get asked about it. He addressed it very early on in his opening statement. I saw our guy Connor O'Gara Saturday Down South. He came up after. I asked him, I was like, hey, I didn't listen. Did he say that? He goes, dude, he went at it. He grabbed the bull by the horns, said he didn't like it, said it didn't matter, said it galvanized the team. So it'll be interesting to see. But with something like that, I kind of thought someone's going to ask him about it. He'll address it, right? You grab that by the horns in your opening statement, you're showing that you mean business. I think I've seen some people saying on Twitter, The Brian Harsin that was at SEC Media Days a year ago doesn't do that. He does that now. It seems like he's finding his way in this league.
1 year through the SEC will age you, but it'll also give you wisdom. And he's got some battle scars from the past year because he kind of went through it all. He went through a team that had high expectations, a team that could compete for the SEC West. There was a chance before the A&M game that they would be a top 10 team in the country, that they would potentially have a chance if they beat Alabama to win the SEC West. We know how that all played out. The season changed, it spiraled out of word. And here he is a year later, really doing what I think is PR 101, attacking anything negative early. You be proactive about it as opposed to allowing them to come at you.
I know he's talked from Zach from Locked on Auburn. We'll play that here in a little bit. I'll be honest, David, I forgot how close they played both Penn State and, I knew how close they played Alabama.
The Auburn game they could have won.
Yeah, the
Penn State.
I forgot about Penn State and I forgot about the Alabama game. You think of how their season could have swung to a completely different feel. And there, it's Auburn, Alabama, right? If you beat Alabama, does anybody really care what else you do?
No,
right?
They don't.
Like they want to win, they want to be good. But if you, there are probably some Auburn fans out there that would say, well, we won all our non-conference games, won 2 games in the SEC. Oh, but we beat Alabama. There are some people there that I feel like would take that.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And this is not going to be a popular opinion here, but I will say the A&M game was actually close for a long time. And, Michael Clemens made that not a game, but it was a very close game. So we talk about some of the issues that A&M had last year. And I told you yesterday how many close games Alabama played in last year. Like 6 of the 8 games in the SEC were decided in the fourth quarter. The margin for error is so small in the SEC. And when Bo Nix was going for Auburn last year, when he was out there doing his thing, they were winning games. And then when Michael Clemens was, visiting him in the backfield, you know how that all ended up. So Auburn part of the conversation today, Tennessee part of the conversation today. And so we'll continue the dialogue. As I mentioned, you can text the A&B text line. I have a bunch that I have not read, so we'll do that on the other side of the break. Most of it, and I'd say 98.2% of it, is about Ryan Fowler. Ryan Fowler has become the Olin Buchanan for A&M because Olin had all the Alabama fans coming after him, and now it looks
so
like...
maybe the people that couldn't see Ryan's face, I think Ryan's a really good guy. And Billy said it right. It was a good argument. I think Ryan knew exactly what he was doing when he sat down here. It's A&M Day, and I think he was ready to have a little fun.
Well, and for his base, he's got to take that stance, right?
Yeah.
Just like OB, myself, we have to take our stance.
Yeah.
And again, I believe ours is on facts and what we saw, and we lived it, right? We lived that recruiting cycle, but we can continue that dialogue when we come back here on TexAgs Radio. Right now, let's see. The caller number 1, we're going to give you a free car wash from Aggieland Express Car Wash in South College Station. It is off William D. Fitch in Greens Prairie. They are Aggie-owned and operated with the friendliest staff and the personal touch. They offer a monthly membership. We'll give the first caller a free car wash right now from Aggieland Express in South College Station.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. The Bush Library invites students ages 7 to 11 to their Exploring History Camp. 4-day camps take place in July and include art activities, science experiments, geography exploration, and games. Visit bush41.org to learn more. Shine a light for survivors at the Sexual Assault Resource Center's and Evening Under the Stars event on Friday, September 9th. Sponsorship and ticket opportunities are now available. Visit sarcbv.org for more information. Pink Alliance is proud to present Olympian and breast cancer survivor Shantae Lowe as this year's speaker for the 19th annual Surviving and Thriving Luncheon, Wednesday, September 28th at the Hilton. Purchase your tickets at survivingandthriving.org. For more information about becoming a master gardener, visit brazosmg.com. You can hear Astros baseball all summer long on the Zone thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. Before construction starts on any new business or home, make your first thought Kelly Burt Dozer. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Hi, this is Jeff Vanderwood with Veribank. Veribank is continuing to grow in the Brazos Valley with a brand new full-service banking center on Highway 6 in front of Academy. We have a team of genuine bankers specializing in personal and business banking, wealth management, and investor real estate lending ready to serve you. Veribank is here to help you succeed financially, and you can bank on it.
Visit Verabank.com today. That's VERA bank.com. Verabank, Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
MVP's bonus days are here for pros. For 12 days, pros save big and MVPs get even more. Because MVP's Pro Rewards members can earn bonus points to redeem for rewards. Earn points on every dollar spent up to $1,000 and get up to 3 times more points when you shop select brands and products. Find MVP's bonus day savings from July 11th to the 22nd in-store and online. Exclusively at Lowe's. Exclusively for pros. MVP's Pro Rewards program subject to program terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/L/pro loyalty terms. Subject to change.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Pioneer Steel, Gulf States Toyota, Cherry Rafino with Coldwell Banker Apex Realty, and Amarillo National Bank. Here's a big gig to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Enter now at zone1150.com and you can win a Texas Summer Survival Kit presented by Field of Family and the Smokin' Aces barbecue team. Impress the guests at your next backyard barbecue when you serve locally owned, locally grown premium beef from Field of Family. Order online today at shopfieldofamily.com. Enter now. You can enter once a week, once a day, Thursday through Saturday. Enter every week to play. Enter now at zone1150.com.
Let's go, girls. Come on. I'm going out tonight. I'm feeling alright.
Shania Twain, it's TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio in Atlanta, the ATL. What's up? Good times here, having a good old time. Thanks to Wings & More, who brings you this road show. They are Aggieland's favorite wings. They got burgers, they got ribs, they got chicken tenders, and they got seafood. Voted the best wings in the Brazos Valley. Wings & More on University Drive. You know it. People have been asking, so I'll reset the schedule for how today is going to play out. I'll give you the Central Times. Auburn went earlier. Brian Harsin spoke at 8:05. I had some interesting things to say that Dalton brought up to us here earlier, attacking the whole scandal in the offseason head on. It is a few minutes away from Josh Heupel. He'll be speaking. Some of the players coming with Josh Heupel, Trevin Flowers, Hendon Hooker, and Cedric Tillman. He will speak at 9:30 Central. But the one you are all asking about is Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo, Damani, and Layden Robinson will be speaking at 11:30 our time. Keep it with TexAgs.com for all the info and all the analysis and sound. We will be breaking it all down here before we leave Atlanta, Georgia. So I do want to go to the A&B text line and read a couple of the text messages because people were up in arms. And let's see if I can help reset. We'll have that up on the site. I don't know if it's up yet, but we'll have it up on the site here later on today. But the conversation with Ryan Fowler from Alabama, I think where most people were offended was, how's an 8-4 team, get the number one recruiting class ever? And to that, OB and myself, we kind of had to educate him on that. It was interesting. That's I guess that's my way of trying to fill as these text messages are opening up. And here is Sandy, who says, Olin, can you tell us one player on Texas team? Why do you know more about the Zips? Kendall? Oh, sorry, that's from Kendall. Can you tell us one player on the Texas team? Why do you know more about the Zips? I don't know what that means. That's not the one I tried to open. I was trying to open Sandy's that went away. We have B in Austin, who says, who is this guy? We need to, this guy. Madden in Houston says, Saban goes 7-6 in his first season, and nobody is talking about that. And this is true. Look, I think the whole, how does an 8-4 team get the number one recruiting class in the country is such a tired and weak. Look, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, even at 5-7, I expect the University of Texas to recruit at a top 10 clip. Okay, if they come off an Orange Bowl victory, I expect them to be in the top 3, right? Just like Texas A&M. That's just comes with the university. With Jimbo Fisher, he has consistently, and I mean consistently, recruited at a top 10 clip. No doubt about that. He has done that over and over again. So when people like to use that convenient and tired argument of an 8-4 team recruiting at that level, and how do they do it unless they were doing something sneaky? Well, you can't talk out of two sides of your mouth, because you can't tell me it's sneaky and then say, but what are you mad about? It's legal. Which one is it? It can't be both. It cannot be both. My internet's not working. Good times. 979-693-1150 is the number. 979-693-1150.
I'm hardwired. Tell me what you want.
Can you get me some text messages to get to, since we are filling this segment?
Yeah, here's an interesting one from Sandy. Apparently this morning on SEC This Morning, which, by the way, Doring shaved Peter Burns' mustache.
On air?
On air.
Wow.
It was something. But apparently Burns was giving Doring a hard time for not being able to read something on his phone. Doring then pivoted and said, but yeah, have you seen Billy Lucci trying to read his phone?
Oh, he said that?
He said that on air.
Oh, wow. That's great. Yeah.
So that happened.
Yeah, well, we are very familiar with Billy reading here at TexAgs. He definitely does bring it up. What other texts do we have in there, Dalton?
Let's see. Olin said he doesn't know a player from Tennessee, yet he knows more than 5 on the Texas team. Why do you care more about the SIPs than SEC teams? I mean, I would say Olin wouldn't know someone from Tennessee. One, A&M's not playing Tennessee this year.
Sure.
I think Olin did know Hendon Hooker. Texas is right next door. We have to listen to that.
We're recruiting the same kids.
Yeah, I'd say that one's kind of simple in my mind. I guess maybe Kendall would disagree.
And also, they are, even if you don't play each other, they're still your rival. Right? Like,
yeah,
they are who they are. Like, we know players. Do you know players in Oklahoma? Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens. You're allowed to know players from other programs. Tennessee is an interesting one, because with the coaching change last year, nobody knew who Hendon Hooker was early on. He wasn't even expected to be the quarterback. And the way he finished up the season made him a name.
Someone from the 806, Ryan Fowler, was playing a game with you. He was pushing a false narrative and daring you to poke a hole in it. It was a game that's been played in this region of the country for a long time. It's taking a story and then changing the point of view using available evidence, but twisting it to have a different meaning. You could see Ryan smiling through every time he misinterpreted the truth.
Right. Yeah.
I think Ryan was having fun knowing he was on air in College Station.
By the way, radio guys, and I mean this with all due respect, that is part of the charm of radio, is taking an angle and running with it in a certain way. Not all of them are going to win, right? They're not going to win. And in his audience, probably loved everything he brought to the table.
I mean, people, I think, forget. Ryan, I think, set the tone and tenor for that interview when he first sat down and started talking about the equipment, the fact that people in Alabama won't go to college because their parents have spent their college fund on traveling to watch Alabama play in the playoffs and national championship game. What people say means a lot.
Sure.
I think that guy was here to have fun. I think he did. I think he presented an argument. You don't have to agree with it. He presented an argument and had some fun.
And really, it started before the interview. You heard it on the air, but he was like, look at this equipment. Oh, my God.
He asked about TexAgs' NIL deal for our equipment.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's called We Have Billy Lucci, and he is the NIL fund for TexAgs.
So that Ryan Fowler interview, though, to me speaks to what we might see. Billy doesn't think there's going to be a lot of Alabama fans here, and there might not be, but I could see some gotcha moments from Alabama media with Jimbo today.
Yeah. I believe it, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
I think what Lane said it to start the week, David. He said, well, Kirby always says, you get up here at media days and people ask you questions about Alabama. So if you don't think after the offseason that Texas A&M has had intertwined with Alabama after beating them on the field last year, that Jimbo Fisher won't get a couple of questions about that, you're crazy.
Look, I don't know geography all that well, but I don't think Tuscaloosa is all that far from Atlanta. So it's not like media is trying to hurry back, like some of the ones that went on day one that got to get back. There's no need to be here. When you're Alabama, there is a need to be at media days throughout, especially with Jimbo Fisher speaking on the last day. So they're going to be around for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, when we come back here on TexAgs Radio, by the way, I'm Mike Doc. I see you. Your text popped up. Thank goodness for my internet working sometimes. That was great stuff, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Doc Mike. When we come back here on TexAgs Radio, one of our favorite guests, Josh Pate. We interviewed him early this morning. He has a flight out as soon as this show ends, so we had to make sure we got him on the show. He's got some interviews to do as well, so he was kind and gracious enough to join us this morning. We'll do that interview. The programming update for the rest of the show, TBD. We're just going. We know there's a chance that we get some of Billy's buddies there from Baton Rouge on the program. We've got some interviews this week that we have done that we will toss to, and we'll see if any other live guests join us here on the program. It's a crazy day. Andy Staples right over there. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to Andy at some point. It is TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
The show sounds different, but it's still TexAgs. It's TexAgs Radio with David Nuno on the Zone.
Howdy, this is Brad Beard with Intercon. You would not buy a car, boat, or major appliance if the warranty only covered material, leaving you to pay labor, freight, and other charges. So don't make the same mistake when making a window or glass purchase. With many players in the window industry, limited warranties are truly limited. At Intercon, the warranties we provide cover 100% of the cost to get the product performing as it should. The labor and freight charges on other vendors' warranties can add up to hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Ask questions about other warranties offered. What costs are not covered? Are they transferable? What happens if a vendor goes out of business? Intercon does not represent any fly-by-night manufacturers who change their name and product line continually. We have long-standing relationships with our vendors and offer the best warranties in the business. Years down the road, Intercon will still be in the Brazos Valley, making sure the product we sold you lives up to expectations. Call Intercon and get the best product at the best price with the best service.
When it comes to windows for your most valuable asset, trust your local friends and neighbors from Intercon. Call Brad Beard with Intercon at 823-3639. That's 823-3639 for Intercon today.
Suddenlink is becoming optimum, and bit by bit, employee by employee, we're making big changes to reconnect with you.
Take me. I'm working hard to bring Optimum Fiber, a new 100% fiber internet network, into your home for more speed and reliability.
And me, I can help customers combine that with Optimum Mobile, now on the T-Mobile network, so they can stay seamlessly connected at home and on the go.
I love telling my customers that they can have the flexibility to choose the products that work for them with no forced bundles or annual contracts.
When I help solve issues, I strive to keep your satisfaction my top priority. In fact, we're always here for you with support in-store or online and over the phone 24/7.
But beyond helping you, we're also helping our communities.
By donating millions to public schools and local organizations.
To empower the next generation of innovators.
And now that Suddenlink is becoming Optimum, all that progress adds up to something much bigger, reconnecting with you and what you love.
So let's reconnect. See all the progress we're making at suddenlink.com/reconnect.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Jeremy Fowler. I am waiting, Jeremy, for you to drop us some bars.
Hey, am I really going to do this?
I know he likes this one.
All right, yes, we're on KJM. You know I play above the rim. J. Will, pass me the rock.
It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor, here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
In a strange turn of events, I had the wrong headset on.
You've been grabbing the same one all week.
I don't know, dude.
I was very confused.
I was like, what's going on here? What is happening?
I was like, it's definitely on.
And it felt colder. I was like, why does this feel so cold? Mine was nice and warm a moment ago. Hey. TexAgs Radio. We were presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio in Atlanta. Paul Feinbaum is right over here to our left. We're trying to work and make eye contact to see what we can do to get him on the show. Maybe we can have another Ryan Fowler discussion here on the program. But apparently he's booked. We'll try our best, though. Maybe if I can, hey, gonna get you for a second here on the program. All right. By the way, we're brought to you by Wings and More here in the ATL at the College Football Hall of Fame. So we recorded an interview with Josh Pate, who's a friend of the show, comes on from time to time. He's a big fan of Kyle Field. You'll hear that in this interview. Loves, who doesn't love Kyle Field? But he really illustrates it well. for his passion for when he was there last year, and he's still trying to map out a way to get out here. We talked to Josh about all things Aggies and realignment and just how the SEC, the Tier 1, the Tier 2 gap, all that and a lot more. Here's my discussion with Josh Pate from Lake Kick.
3, 2, and 1.
We always make fun of each other for our 3, 2, 1s. And
I skip one.
You skip one?
Yeah, skip one.
You just 3, 2.
3, 2,
go.
Boom. Yeah.
So I'm glad you're here, but I'm not at the same time. Because until you arrived, I had the biggest guns at TexAgs, but now you've shown up, and they're all going to make fun of me that you've surpassed the gun show. So we picture you doing this. Watching college football, doing curls. Possible?
Yeah, but not isolated. I don't do ISOs now. Give me a little more credit than that. Look, I'm a visitor. Yeah. I got on a visitor's pass. So you have the ultimate power to kick me out of here anytime you want.
No,
so you're still the man.
We're going to do it, man. So happy to get you on the show again. And are you coming back to Kyle Field this year?
Man, I sure hope so.
Yeah.
You know, I was actually mapping that out this morning, and there's some places, and that's definitely one of them now, where before you've seen the schedule – or before you've memorized it, you're sitting there hoping, all right, I got to find the date I'm going out there. And Kyle Field's one of them now, which is funny. I was doing radio yesterday, one of the Alabama stations, and I was trying to explain, you know, if you grew up where I did in Georgia, in Columbus, Georgia, you don't know a whole lot about A&M. You know the history. You watch the Southwest Conference documentaries. You know all that stuff. And you know they're in the conference. But like a lot of folks from my home state, and even in Alabama and Georgia, they play A&M, but they've never been out there.
Right.
And you can clearly tell the ones who have been out there. Because the ones who have been out there, they sound like me. And the ones who haven't been out there, they say, that place sounds a little overrated. No one ever comes back from an A&M game and says, you know, it just didn't deliver quite what I thought it was. And last game, I was out there for the Auburn game last year.
Yeah.
And that was like you guys basically opened a laptop and you dialed up the perfect weather conditions and you dialed up temperature and you lowered humidity and you put a blue sky and you got a win. And it was a great afternoon.
The only thing they didn't dial up was offense. There was no offense in that game, but that defense was fantastic.
Well, that kind of leads to what Jimbo Fisher's going to be asked about today, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. You know, when he had the spring game, I remember you guys were talking to him afterwards. And it was a windy day in the spring game, and he said, I didn't care if we were playing in a hurricane. We were going to throw the ball down the field because I know we got to throw the ball down the field.
Right.
And, you know, the book on him, you know, Anthlon does the whole opposing coaches view. Well, I like to get the real ones because half the time I think that stuff's made
Sure.
up. So when you talk to coaches, one of the things they'll say about Fisher is, I don't know how flexible he really is. Or I don't know if he's so set in his way and believes in his offense so much that there really is no pre-snap motion to be had, shifts to be had. He really believes once I get the right quarterback in there, if we execute it exactly the way it should be executed, we'll be fine in the passing game. Maybe that's right, maybe that's wrong. I'm not his OC. I'm not here to diagnose that. But I think it's really interesting, you know, once they start bringing the caliber of athlete they are on campus now,
Sure.
if he really does adjust, or if it's just let me plug better pieces into what we've already been doing, we'll get the results everyone wants.
Josh, how does the narrative change, though, if they do get invited to the college football playoffs in 2020, where I think they deserve to be in there, and the way they look at this offense and what he has built? Because 9-1 at an all-SEC schedule, people still miss that because they look at last year at 8-4 and made some of the 9-win seasons.
Yeah, they would. Well, how many people question Georgia right now? You know, Georgia offensively last year in some ways was what A&M was. The statistics look better,
right?
But the identity was the same. The identity was we're going to lean on those guys on the other side of the ball. We're going to do enough offensively, but they won a championship because they were in the college football playoff and then did what SEC teams do when they get there. And so the answer to your question is, well, they wouldn't be questioned nearly to the degree that they are right now. But that's kind of that bottom line business. Everyone loves to say it's about winning championships, which it is, but it's not like a rich or poor thing.
Right.
You know, sometimes bounces of balls, bob plays, as I call them, are the difference in winning a championship and being a 10-2 team that gets invited to a nice bowl game. But the reality is the way that ball bounces, if it's often upright out versus often upright in, which is sometimes the way those games are decided too, that doesn't change whether what you're doing is right or not. Right. And it's not a zero sum. Okay, well, if you get this result, then it's totally thumbs up. If you get this result, it's totally thumbs down. The way it works is kind of, there's this huge vacuum, and you've got people looking at tier 1 teams, and then you got everything else. And the reality is there's tier 1 teams, but then there's this group of about 5 or 6. A&M's in there. Notre Dame's been in there in the last few years. Oklahoma's in there, of teams that are kind of on the precipice, kind of on the brink, and the roster and talent level is going to have them there every year, which is all you can ask for. You can ask for more, But it's reasonable to say if you're in that tier 2 and you're bordering on that tier 1, especially if you're recruiting like they're recruiting right now,
right?
You're going to eventually lean on that wall enough to where it falls down. You get in there.
So how far is that gap this year from tier 1 to tier 2? If tier 1 is Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia,
good quarterback play.
Yeah.
It's not good quarterback play. You need to have A- quarterback play, probably B+ to A- quarterback play to get there. Now, to win a championship, it's going to take more than just B+ quarterback play. But, Texas A&M, as well as I do, playing in the division they play in, you don't have to win the division to make the playoff.
Yep.
So if they're in a situation where, man, they're a really solid team, even if they were to go to Tuscaloosa, and let's say they drop a game 31-24 or something like that, if you've got, whether it be Haynes or Max, if you've got a guy that's pulling the trigger at quarterback and you're playing at a high enough level and just utilizing your talent roster as well as you can, man, they could be in a situation where they're 10-1, 11-1 at the end of the year, and they're in there anyway. And see, the thing about A&M, or at least I feel this way. Now, you can tell me if you feel otherwise. Because of the inevitable infusion of that freshman class that we'll see over the course of the year, it could be a team where the best shot to get them is early. Not only because of the quarterback, quote-unquote, uncertainty, and that just means a decision hadn't been made. Not only because of that, but because those young guys, obviously, by the time November rolls around, you've got an entire freshman year under your belt. Some of them will have started all year. Some of them will have come in week 4 or week 5. But that A&M team, I think a lot of folks understand this in the SEC. If you let them hang around, and if they're still there, if that LSU game means something consequential to the SEC championship race or the playoff race, they'd be a really, really dangerous team.
So am I buying Sankey's talking points? Because before I got here, I was like, there's no way we're waiting until the mid-2030s to get these super conferences. But after talking to him, he kind of convinced me that they're fine staying there. I read it last week. I'm like, no, they're not. And I kind of believe him now. Where do you stand on it?
I absolutely believe that.
Yep.
I do, but there could be two truths here. It could be that their preference is to do that, and it could be that their hand is forced 5 minutes from now. You and I could check our phone any minute.
Right.
Notre Dame could change all that. And so what I do think is he is absolutely being honest with you and forthright when he says, and when they as a conference say, we're fine at 16. We want to stay at 16. But I don't think that they're going to be second to the table if they sense more big dominoes are going to move. But also the other thing to think about is I thought Jim Phillips, ironically, at the ACC Media Day event yesterday, he made some comments that fall kind of in line with some of the metaphors I've been using. Like I've said, I don't like a lot of the shifting because I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to build the biggest mansion you can. I just think if the rest of the town around the mansion deteriorates, your property values in a net decrease anyway, even though it looks brighter and shinier. Right. And that's kind of analogous to what's happening in college football around the one or two super conferences that you see coalescing right now. I'm not a big fan of that. Well, Jim Phillips at the ACC Media Day event yesterday steps up and says, do we really want college football to just be a couple of big gated communities? And he's speaking in a kind of romantic nature about the sport, but it's always been okay to do that because college football's always kind of been like this natural preserve of sorts within the city of American sports.
Yep.
And it doesn't operate like the NBA or like the NFL or like Major League Baseball. There aren't true free market principles exercised in the college game. If there were, it would be devoured.
Right.
Just like if you let that natural preserve operate under the same city code as the rest of downtown Atlanta, we don't have Centennial Park because you just built a skyscraper. You bulldoze it in 2 seconds. Well, this is what aggravates me the most. I'm a free market capitalist, man. I'm all about it. But I know that there are a lot of people screaming free market, free market, free market in college athletics.
Sure.
They have no clue what they're asking for. And what a lot of these commissioners have been saying, and Phillips was just the latest yesterday, is do we really want that? Because the warning is once you get it, it's impossible to go back. Cannot go back.
Last thing for you. I've said this, and I think I'm right. Is Tennessee last year's Arkansas this year?
That's a good one now. So tell me what you mean by that.
What I mean is like, still kind of under the radar. People are talking about Hendon Hooker. Still kind of under the radar, but they might strike big this year. They have to win those tight games, as Arkansas did last year. That media darling at the end of the year.
They absolutely have the potential to be that. I'll tell you another thing that I don't think people have picked up on, that if they do end up stacking up some wins, people will pick up on, is Heupel has a lot of that Sam Pittman quality to him. I will never forget. It's very vivid in my memory. I went up there last year for a game. And I'm talking to some of the same people who have been there since Jeremy Pruitt was there, since Butch Jones was there, and they were so quick to come find me and tell me, dude, we love this guy so much. And I don't, they were always quick to say, it's not a guarantee that he's going to be a national champ here or even resurrect the program. But, man, we're pulling for him more than any coach we've had here in quite a while because folks genuinely love him. And it's not just one of those he goes around and brown noses everyone in the building. It's not that. It's the natural way he carries himself. It's kind of like Pittman.
Right.
All of Pittman's folks talk the same way about him. Well, that doesn't matter if you don't win games because nice guys lose all the time. Bad guys win sometimes. Yep. But if a good guy happens to win, oh, yeah. And then you start hearing more of Josh Heupel. The nation doesn't know him. The nation has no clue who he is yet. I don't think a lot of the Southern media really knows who he is. But if he starts winning and gives you reason to shine the spotlight on him, yeah. Now, having said that, that's the team that has to play Georgia and Bama every year. Yeah. That's like Auburn and Tennessee. It's a very unenviable task. But they do get Bama in the best scheduling spot they possibly could, coming off back-to-back tough games. I think Arkansas and A&M before they go to Tennessee. And so if they were to pull that off, you cannot even imagine. I don't think the folks in College Station have any clue what it will mean when Tennessee finally beats Bama for the first time in a decade and a half, for the first time since Saban has been there. Even in that terrible first year where Bama lost to the UL Monroe, they found a way to beat Tennessee. It's been tough.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you.
That was Josh Pate with David Nuno earlier this morning from Radio Row. Dalton Hughes here as David Nuno had to make a coffee run. He's joining me back at the table now. Did he get the coffee? It seems like it. He's got the headset. He's
a little
back.
delayed because
20 seconds, though. Not bad, man. I had most of it. Let me change the camera back to you because no one wants to look at me.
Yeah, they do.
There we go.
Your OnlyFans site is kicking right now.
I forgot my ring light.
Pardon?
Never mind. Go ahead.
I'm not familiar. Is this?
Me neither.
So the reason I was a little delayed, there's a gentleman in an A&M shirt, and he and his wife are here. They're from Georgia. They stopped me. They told me big fans of the show.
Okay.
We took a picture. Couldn't have been. He was so nice and so happy to be here. He's here to see Jimbo, obviously. He wants to take a picture with OB, so I texted OB. He says he listens to the show every day, watches the show every day, texts the show all the time. So I said, hey, well, text us the picture. I'd like to see it. So he was very nice. He stopped me on the way down to get coffee.
Was that one of the guys that likes the show, loves you, hates me, right? That group?
Believe it or not, you didn't come. I'm going to be very honest with you. I have not heard somebody hate you yet.
You're not talking to the right people.
Well, this is true.
There's plenty out there.
I've heard a lot of love for you. There might be a little hate for me. It happens.
Less than me. What else we got this hour, bud?
I don't even know. We're just gonna kind of get through this hour. Tennessee, we'll talk about them. I know we got a couple of Billy's friends. I've already tweeted who they'll be, but Jacob Hester and T-Bob should be joining the show. Cole Kubelik may not be able to join us live, but we'll get that interview hopefully today done at some point.
Yeah, we'll talk to Cole later after the show. He's like, hey, man, I have to go check out. As we all learned this morning, it had to check out at what? What time did you check out? Because I'll tell you what time I did.
I think, again, I'm so bad with the times in this time zone. I believe it was 10 minutes before I got here, and let's say I got here at 7:15 Atlanta time, maybe?
Right? I checked out at 6:45 Eastern.
So, yeah, I was about 30 minutes after
with
you.
With Richard still asleep in the room.
Did you leave the light on for him?
No, I turned all the lights off, checked out. He told me, he's like, yeah, I'll leave by 7:30. I was like, well, they're not going to go up there in that 45-minute period, right? So I was kind of hoping, though, that someone would have gone and knocked on the door to clean it. Knocked on the door to clean it while Richard was still asleep. But, yeah, checked out early this morning. Had to get down here to Radio Row. Find a place to put the bags.
Yeah.
Because we're out of here straight to the airport.
We're here all day. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
Billy's got a big
Billy's
hit.
got Feinbaum at 5:30.
I think Billy
Eastern?
and Olin, right?
Oh, are they going at it together?
I think they're doing a thing. I think they're going to.
Okay.
They're both are going to be on the show.
Another big thing. I know people like to watch the Feinbaum show and tell us about it that they don't like it, but everybody watches it, right? Feinbaum does a bit at Media Days called The Last Reporter Standing. You know that, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So there's a rumor.
A rumor that you can confirm because you've talked to the source.
I've confirmed it with Billy that he is able to do this, and I told the other person to do it. I think Richard Zane's going to make a run at Last Reporter Standing this afternoon.
So kind of explain that bit to me because I know about it, but do people really try to outlast each other?
I don't think people try to outlast each other. I mean, we explained the vibe here pretty well this morning. Like, it's A&M Day. We're excited to be here. It's going to be a fun day. But by day 4 Media Days, you're kind of ready to go.
Yep.
So it's the people grinding through stuff. It's usually younger reporters trying to get stuff done. But, Richard's got to edit Olin and do all that stuff. He's got to be here with Billy and Olin anyways. I saw Richard has on I know everybody's seen it on the show, his TexAgs versus Everybody T-shirt. And
that's a shirt he made, right? That's not like one that we used to give out, is it?
No, that was after the NIL deal last year when everybody hated us, when we paid Damani and Isaiah to come do an interview before media days.
Yep.
Me and Richard went on to some T-shirt website, and he made that shirt for like $15.
That's it.
And they sent it here, and he really wishes we'd have known earlier because he wishes he had that shirt for media days last year.
Yeah.
I think it showed up the Friday y'all got back last year. So, yeah, be watching on Feinbaum for young Richard Zane.
Hopefully he makes it.
TexAgs versus everybody T-shirt.
But I'm going to go ahead and tell you, when we're done with our work, we're going to look at that weathercast, and if it means we got to go to the airport now, get on an earlier flight, which is not going to happen, we're doing that.
Oh, we're splitting the crew is what you're thinking?
I mean,
you and Jamie are the ones that need to go. So if y'all need to go, I'm at that point right now. I told you earlier, if I don't get out of here tonight, I think I'm going to go watch the Braves on Friday night and not fly out till Saturday.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Well, we're at break time.
Oh.
Right? Yeah.
Do you have a live read?
I have a live read.
Who is it?
It's about an emergency type situation, Dalton. I know you have loved ones.
Patient-centered care that you can trust?
If you don't trust them, who do you trust, right?
Nobody, man.
Well, it only starts there, and they do it their way.
Yeah.
Is that Frank Sinatra?
Exactly. Caprock.
Caprock Health
Systems.
Correct. See, I love the robotic tone that we have here on TexAgs Radio, especially our friends at Caprock Health System. I have told you guys many times over the last 6 weeks. By the way, my son Cruz got his cast taken off. He's now in a brace. Still not 100% allowed to do the activities that he wants to do, but we're getting closer and closer. It has been very fast. But we were in Georgia here, this great state, and we went to the worst urgent care in the history of urgent care initially. We got there, 298 people coughing all over each other. They couldn't even do what we asked them to do. We already knew. Our coach is a doctor. He's like, this is what's wrong. Go tell them to do this. In and out. Boom. Well, it wasn't in and out. It was terrible. So we went to another place. And the whole time I'm like, if this were Caprock, I'd be in and out. I'd have patient-centered care, and their sole purpose is to make me feel better. That's what I was repeating in my head. And my son's like, why aren't you concerned about me? Why are you doing a spot in the car? I was like, well, because I'm thinking about if we were in College Station, this is what we would do. And that is Caprock. We love what they do. They've got the hospital and ER that maintain a clean and sterile, safe environment. You've got the one in Bryant and Caprock 24-hour emergency center in College Station. Both have 0 wait times for emergency care. You'll never have to sit in a crowded waiting room. It is Caprock Health System.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. The Boys and Girls Club track program is raising money to send 11 athletes to the state track meet this weekend. Donate to the Race to State campaign at bgcbv.org/track. Hundreds of books geared to young readers will go on sale Saturday, August 20th at the Mounts Library in downtown Bryan. The special one-day sale features books for newborns to age 12. Doors open to members of the Bryan College Station Friends of the Library at 9 a.m. and the general public at 10 a.m. The 16th annual Voices for Children Casa Golf Classic is Monday, November 7th at Miramont. Sponsorship opportunities are now available. Find the event at vfcbrazos.org for more information. Submit your nonprofit event to news at WTAW.com. Every Thursday night when the Brazos Valley Bombers are home, it's Thirsty Thursday, brought to you by The Zone. $1 beer, soda, or water. It's Thirsty Thursday, brought to you by The Zone. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Day 209 on the island. There is still no rescue in sight. I long for the simple comforts of home. The leather seats, the spacious interior, the 12.3-inch touchscreen display, and of course, the panoramic moonroof. If I could only gaze through it one more time.
Jerry!
What?
Stop talking about your Highlander and help me with the raft!
Frank seems more agitated than normal lately. Could it possibly be because he too misses my Toyota Highlander?
No, Jerry! It's not because I miss your Highlander! And stop acting like I can't hear you!
Yes, that must be it. Comparing his sad raft to my sleek-looking Highlander has finally broken him.
Just stop.
Experience the unforgettable 2022 Toyota Highlander for yourself. Visit your local dealer or go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. See packages and options at toyota.com for feature availability.
Nicole's apartment cleaning says children busy at play don't always think about safety. Make this a safe time for our children by driving with extra care whenever they're near. This message is from Nicole's Apartment Cleaning, serving the area for all your home and office cleaning needs. Licensed and bonded. They make sure every clean is beyond exceptional. Call for a quote at 979-446-8255. That's 979-446-8255. Nicole's Apartment Cleaning, wishing everyone a happy and safe summer season.
Gotta be connected with The Zone. Follow us on Twitter or Instagram at The Zone 1150. Like us on Facebook at The Zone 1150. Programming alerts, prize updates, scores from games all across Brian Broadcasting, contest news, and more. Connect with us and always be in the know. Can't remember what team is playing on what station? When are they giving away what? And when is the coach on the show? Follow us on Twitter or Instagram at Zone 1150. And be sure to like us on Facebook at Zone 1150. And always be in the know.
Coach, I mean,
very good.
There's a lot of depth. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of versatility, which I think is extremely important in today's game because of the matchups to be able to how safeties have to play like corners have to play like safeties at times. I mean, from tackling to covering, all the different things and the body types of which we have. I'm very excited, and the depth in which we have, which I think, we had some young guys that really had to play last year. And some of our injuries a year ago, like I say, on the offensive line, in the secondary, a receiver, some different things, I think really will, as that last year were not burdens, as you say, but were tough situations, will really benefit us this year.
That is Jimbo Fisher. Yeah, he's already talking. He's talking to the electronic media. Is that right, Daltonian?
That would be the local assembled media. So you can see
assembled.
that video on TexAgs Twitter. He's in the local assembled media in the hotel room.
Right now, okay.
Right now. Josh Heupel, I think, is still on the main stage. They let the local media have a crack at him first.
Yep, that's good. So we'll have that sound to play throughout the show at some point. We appreciate our crew out there getting it all done. Richard, Jamie, Olin's out there. So we appreciate that. It is TexAgs Radio here, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Roadshow, the SEC Media Days Day 4 Roadshow, potentially our last day in Atlanta. I say potentially because, well, there's a torrential downpour going on right now. Let's see if it's still going on right now.
No, it looks like it stopped. Have I scared you?
Yeah.
You got to get back to watch kids. Jamie's got to get back to move.
So
it's going to be rough, and we also have like a minute and a half left here.
So let me just say this. My wife is supposed to be in Houston in the morning, and I'm supposed to arrive tonight. So there's like a tag. And if I don't make my flight to College Station tonight, then it throws all her work plans up in the air. So we are trying to figure that part of it out. But hopefully we make it. We got time. Our flight's not till like 7 or 8 o'clock at night, which will be delayed till 3 in the morning.
That would be 8 o'clock Eastern, David Nuno.
Is it 8 o'clock Eastern, our flight?
8 o'clock Eastern.
So, and it means we arrive in the great the great city of Austin, which is not that great, to be honest with you. But we will, looks like T-Bob is around, so we'll see if we can chat with him here in a moment. He's going to come by. Billy should be here momentarily, and we'll have a bunch of that here on the program. You're listening to TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. What I was trying to tell you guys was today's brought to you by Wings & More, right? They are awesome, and on Wednesday they had Whiskey Wednesday, and on Thursday they have Big Willie Thursday. So we have that to talk about here on TexAgs Radio. All right, so hour number 3 coming up. In that hour, Billy, T-Bob, Jacob Hester. We'll talk to a Tennessee insider. We will also play some other interviews that we've got in the can. We'll figure it out as we go. It's that kind of show. Moving parts. I saw Andy Staples. Maybe we'll grab him. It is TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Olivia from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that mommy and daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is Aggieland's home for Aggie football, Aggie basketball, and Aggie baseball. Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Plus online at RadioAggieland.com. This is KZNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the zone. Northbound traffic on Highway 6 near Westward Ho was blocked for more than 2 hours yesterday after a car struck the rear of a stopped DPS patrol vehicle. The trooper, who was not injured, was assisting a stranded motorist who was also not injured. A TxDOT employee inside the patrol SUV was treated at the scene for undisclosed injuries. The driver of the car, 31-year-old Edric Peterson of Navasota, was taken to the hospital for treatment of undisclosed injuries. According to the DPS news release, Peterson will be facing undisclosed criminal charges. The 25th time that a 36-year-old Bryan man is booked in the Brazos County Jail. He's headed to prison after admitting to threatening 3 College Station police officers. The plea agreement between Jesus Davila Jr. and the district attorney's office involves an incident 2 years ago. The annual review of economic development agreements with 6 local corporations were part of this week's Brazos County Commission meeting. Commissioner Steve Aldrich gave a shout out to 2 of the 6.
Wow. Fujifilm Diosynth, what an amazing contribution that is to our community from an economic development perspective, as well as access to.
Fuji's agreement calls for a minimum 100 employees and a minimum payroll of $6 million. The Brazos Valley Economic Development Corporation reports Fuji's employment at 677 with a payroll of almost $55 million. Axis has a payroll of $14 million, which is almost $4 million above their requirement. Texas A&M has responded to WTW News' request for more of the nuts and bolts in the selection process of the new commandant of the Corps of Cadets. More than 20 applied for the job, including at least 2 who work at the university. The person who was hired, General Patrick Michaelis, said he applied in part because becoming commandant is something every cadet thinks about.
It also comes open once in a generation, and you look at the potential impact that you can have to continue to serve in a different capacity.
The search committee was comprised of 12 people. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Suddenlink is becoming optimum, and bit by bit, employee by employee, we're making big changes to reconnect with you.
Take me. I'm working hard to bring Optimum Fiber, a new 100% fiber internet network, into your home for more speed and reliability.
And me, I can help customers combine that with Optimum Mobile, now on the T-Mobile network, so they can stay seamlessly connected at home and on the go.
I love telling my customers that they can have the flexibility to choose the products that work for them, with no forced bundles or annual contracts.
When I help solve issues, I strive to keep your satisfaction my top priority. In fact, we're always here for you with support in-store or online and over the phone 24/7.
But beyond helping you, we're also helping our communities.
By donating millions to public schools and local organizations.
To empower the next generation of innovators.
And now that Suddenlink is becoming Optimum, all that progress adds up to something much bigger, reconnecting with you and what you love.
So let's reconnect. See all the progress we're making at suddenlink.com/reconnect.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on the Zone. The Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Texas A&M star wide receiver Anias Smith has been released on bond following an arrest for driving while intoxicated, unlawful carrying of a weapon, and possessing less than 2 ounces of marijuana. According to the arrest report from University PD, the arrest came just after 2 a.m. on Wednesday near College Station's Northgate district. Smith told the UPD officer that he had been passed out drunk. The officer observed 4 clues of intoxication. 2 breath alcohol samples were under the legal limit at .066 and .061. The officer also found a loaded handgun and a marijuana joint in the vehicle, which Smith denied owning. The junior from Missouri City, Texas, started all 12 games for the Aggies last season, leading the team with 47 receptions and 6 receiving touchdowns. He also ranked second on the squad with 509 receiving yards. Smith was scheduled to be one of 3 players to represent the Aggies today at SEC Media Days. Still no word on who, if anyone, will replace him. Former A&M national champion Shamir Little has advanced to the final in the women's 400-meter hurdles at the World Track and Field Championships. Meanwhile, men's mid-distance runners Donovan Brazier and Brandon Miller, javelin thrower Maggie Malone, and women's sprinter Cherokee Young all saw their runs come to an end. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
You can listen to Aggie football, basketball, and baseball on your Amazon Dot or Echo. Step 1, say, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Step 2, anytime you want to hear fighting Texas Aggie football, Texas A&M women's basketball, or Aggie baseball, all you have to do is say, Alexa, play Zone 1150. It's that simple to listen to your favorite A&M teams that play on the Zone with your Amazon Dot or Echo. Make sure to say one time, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Then say, Alexa, play Zone 1150.
And we're back. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening in and chiming in on the AMB text line. Of course, all guests and callers join us on the BCSI hotline. Appreciate David Gardner's Jewelers and all that they do. They are located on 911 University Drive East in College Station. They've got it all out there. Timepieces, Rolex, men and women. Stop by David Gardner's Jewelers and meet one of their Rolex specialists. And it's an ideal gift. How about a David Yerman collector out there? Get that signature bracelet to add to her stack. Check it out at David Gardner's Jewelers. Shop online, davidgardnersjewelers.com. Okay, and as you know, this roadshow is brought to you by Wings and More. Appreciate Wings and More on University Drive as well, right down the road there from David Gardner's Jewelers. All right, so let's do this. We've got a lot of moving parts this hour, and we're going to see what we're going to do. But I know T-Bob and Jacob Hester are going to be joining us around 10:20 Central Time. Billy should be here with us for that interview, so we will be doing that. But right now, though, we're going to talk a little Auburn football. Auburn hit the podium today, and Zach Blackerby, who's a host on Locked On Auburn and SI Auburn, he gave us some good information. And the one thing that I don't want to say I was surprised by, maybe a little surprised, was he says that he thinks Zach Calzada is the starting quarterback. And so I went into depth of what he saw from Zach last season and what makes him think that. So it's an interesting conversation. Here is our interview with Zach Blackerby of Locked On Auburn. All right, we're here with Zach Blackerby, host of Locked On Auburn and SI Auburn. What's going on, brother?
Man, the week's almost over. It's kind of crazy.
It's taken a little while.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the offseason that Auburn had. Obviously crazy. Yeah. But now I feel like everything's been crazy, right? We've had different kinds of crazy, different programs going through. They're crazy. It's been quiet for Auburn the last 3 months.
Yeah, it's like we got it over with. Everything happened in February around when Harsin was down there for the Senior Bowl, and then I thought he was going to lose his job, and obviously he did not. And it seems like the program internally has really rallied around him. Mm-hmm. I think there's still some external questions in regards to, what do recruits say? What are other coaches that Auburn's recruiting against? What are they telling, potential future Auburn Tigers? The recruiting class isn't looking great in response to some of the stuff that's happened. But internally, this team really believes in him. It really believes in what he's building.
A lot of people have said, too, getting rid of some dead weight, if you will. Guys that didn't buy into this program, they're gone. That could be a plus for them.
Yeah. I mean, at Media Days last year, he talked about how he inherited a program and guys were showing up late to practice and not wanting it and not competing and things like that. And it seems like those guys are gone because they had every opportunity to leave. And a lot of people did. But I think the folks that stayed are pretty much the key guys you were expecting to contribute this year. And so I don't think, everybody looks at, the almost 20 guys that transferred out. And I don't really think that's the story. I think it's more about the guys who stayed because the guys who transferred out probably weren't playing this year anyway. Now, if you want to talk about the program after this season, I think that's a very interesting and scary conversation from an Auburn perspective. But as far as 2022 and Harsin trying to hold on to, this job, I think despite whatever happened in the offseason so far, I think he's okay.
What does he have to do to keep his job? Is it 9 wins? Is it at least 9? Is there a number?
I think it's lower than that. I would say 7. I think 7 and 5, and maybe you beat a team you're not supposed to, which a lot of people say Auburn's not supposed to beat Arkansas. A lot of people say Auburn's not supposed to beat. Can they beat a Texas A&M at home? Something like that. So I think 7 and 5, if they look the part, I think will be enough.
Yeah, So do you ever think about what it would have looked like had they finished the deal versus Bama? How different the offseason would have felt and the excitement heading into this year, kind of like what A&M went through.
And it's not even just the Iron Bowl. if you beat Penn State, I mean, you were down to like the 2-yard line and you call a weird play and it was poorly executed. South Carolina, after Bo Nix gets hurt, and it's like if TJ Finley can offer just somewhat of a semblance of what an SEC starting quarterback should look like, you win that game. Yep. If you don't blow a 28-3 lead against Mississippi State, and then obviously the Iron Bowl is the big one. Can Tank stay in bounds? Can you run the ball just a little bit more to kill the clock quicker and shorten that game a bit? There's so many factors where you look at it, it's like, man, this team was really close, a ton. It just didn't happen.
So you were going to have me on your show to talk about Zach, and I'm going to ask you what you're hearing about Zach and how he's fitting in and what his chances are of potentially being that starting quarterback.
His chances, I think, are pretty close to 100.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. It seems like he's won over the team. I think he's won over the vast majority of the fan base. It seems like everybody that I've talked to, he's putting in the most work of all the quarterbacks. And, Auburn's added a few transfer wide receivers this offseason, and he's the first one to work out with them every single day. And he's not calling and asking. He's saying, hey, we're going to throw. Let's get out there. I don't know if you're really getting that from the other quarterbacks, and obviously that's what you want in a leader and what you want in a starter. So, his quarterback coach is posting a lot of videos of him throwing and working out, which, of course, fan bases love that in June and July. So I think he's won a lot of these folks over. I think he's won his team over. And, I think the other guy that he's really competing with is technically a 3-man race with Robbie Ashford, who transferred in from Oregon, and then TJ Finley, the former LSU quarterback. To me, it seems like a 2-man race, and then Robbie Ashford's going to be the backup. That's just kind of what it feels like. But, man, I just don't see TJ Finley starting at Auburn. I think something bad would have to happen, whether Calzada gets injured or he goes out there and just Brian Harsin has to do something to save the program if Calzada underperforms. But, yeah, I think it's Zach's job to lose.
So when you watched Zach last year, so we have our perspective, right, of what we saw and our struggles and some of the he slayed the giant last year, and that's going to live on forever.
Sure.
When you saw him play, what did you see?
Outside of Alabama?
Outside of Alabama.
I didn't think he was that good. I thought he was fine. In a very talented roster. He doesn't have that talented of a roster around him anymore, right. and so I think there are concerns there. I do think he got better over the course of the season, but I don't think he's an elite SEC quarterback. I didn't think he was with A&M last year. And I don't think he'll be that for Auburn, but Auburn doesn't need that. I think with what this defense is going to be able to do in 2022, can they consistently score 24 points a game? And I think that'll keep Auburn in almost every game this year, with the exception of Georgia and Alabama.
Penn State Part 2, this time you get them at home. How big is that one for their
It's
chances?
Huge. It's huge. They should have won it last year. I think they will beat them this year. And I've actually, talking to everybody here, almost everybody's picking Auburn in that game, which surprised me a little bit just because of the public perception of what all the program's gone through this offseason. But it's huge. And just like last year, does the team develop differently if they hand it off to Tank a few more times and they win that football game? You probably get a little bit more confidence. Bo Nix kind of dropped the ball on that last pass, and it sounded like there was some drama in the locker room after that with offensive coordinator at the time, Mike Bobo, kind of calling him out in front of the team. Yep. Then he balls out against LSU, makes up for it, and it almost seems like that's when he decided he was leaving. So that was huge. If they win that, I think it changes the trajectory of the season a little bit, and much like this upcoming season. If Auburn beats Penn State, it's you feel much better moving forward.
The A&M game, to me, was a pivotal point for Auburn because they were still in the mix to get into the SEC West title run, and that was a game where offensively they could not do anything.
Yeah.
When you think back about that game and what that meant for the season.
Well, going into it, the storyline on Locked on Auburn was if Auburn beats Texas A&M, they're a top 10 team somehow. Like somehow they have tripped their way into being a top 10 team, but that's just it. If you're the top half of the SEC West, you're probably a top 10 team. And they were close for the most part. I mean, it was all defense, right? I mean, the offense for both teams wasn't very good in that one until A&M kind of got some stuff going late. But that's a big one this season, right? Because you look at the programs right now that are in a better spot than you. And some people say Arkansas is. I'm not buying that. Some people say Ole Miss is because of what they did last year. And it was impressive, but I don't think Ole Miss is in a better spot than Auburn is. And so you just look at the winnable games on the schedule, and it's really Texas A&M at home. I don't think they're going to win it, but I think it's winnable. So that's probably, you can make a case that that's the most important game for Brian Harsin this year.
We've joked that Auburn's always a team when you think they're going to be great, not so great.
Yeah.
And then when you think they're going to be bad, they're going to be really good. Is that kind of how you've seen it play out? And look, Proud program has done a lot of great things here, but that's just the feel I get.
Yeah. No, I mean, 2010, 2013, 2017 were all really fun years to be around the program. I don't know, man. It's just such a depth thing. You bring back your whole entire offensive line, essentially. There's a few guys that you've switched out. And it's like, is this an SEC offensive line?
Right.
I don't know the answer to that. It wasn't last year in the running game. It was okay pass blocking. But you get Tank back, but you didn't use him as much as you should have last year. You're going to use him more this year. I don't know, man. There's just a lot of things with this roster that maybe they figured out more now than they did 365 days ago. I think it's there. I think they have talent, and I think they have the coaches to be able to pull it all together. They've just got to do it, and they didn't do it last year.
Thanks, Zach.
Hey, thank you so much, brother.
Appreciate you. All right, appreciate that conversation as we broke down Auburn. An interesting team because, yes, A&M will be favored going to Auburn. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I think that they are the worst team in the SEC West. But with that amount of talent on that team, like LSU. LSU's got a lot of talent, but I don't expect them to be good this year. Those are teams that if you don't, I guess you could rinse and repeat this conversation with almost any team out there because Mississippi State, as we saw at Kyle Field last year, you have to bring your A game against everybody in the SEC that you're playing this year. There's no vanity, right? When you go to South Carolina, you should beat them, but you have to play your A game. I don't know what they're going to get from Spencer Rattler. I don't. But that's one of those games. Florida can come here, and if you don't play your A game, yes, they have enough talent that can beat you. You cannot have those first half lapses that we saw last year, and I think a lot of that was because of the inability of the offense to move the ball, and that should be different this year. Auburn is a team that defensively should still be pretty darn good. If they go back to running the ball with Tank, they're going to be in games. They're going to have that similar recipe that the Aggies have. But the talent level is at a different level in College Station, and that is part of the reasoning behind why it is way too premature to think anything good about Auburn. They have talent, but A&M's got significantly more talent. All right, right now, I just want to remind everybody that this segment is called Around College Football, and that is presented to you by Milliken Reserve, a College Station community featuring homes, trails, farms, and wide open spaces with a mission to build a healthy community around nature. Take part in the Milliken Reserve community with a Conservancy membership. Learn more at millikenreserve.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. The Bush Library invites students ages 7 to 11 to their Exploring History Camp. 4-day camps take place in July and include art activities, science experiments, geography exploration, and games. Visit bush41.org to learn more. Shine a light for survivors at the Sexual Assault Resource Center's An Evening Under the Stars event on Friday, September 9th. Sponsorship and ticket opportunities are now available. Visit sarcbv.org for more information. Pink Alliance is proud to present Olympian and breast cancer survivor Shantae Lowe as this year's speaker for the 19th annual Surviving and Thriving Luncheon, Wednesday, September 28th at the Hilton. Purchase your tickets at survivingandthriving.org. For more information about becoming a master gardener, visit brazosmg.com. You can hear Astros baseball all summer long on the Zone thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. Before construction starts on any new business or home, make your first thought Kelly Burt Dozer. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Optimum Mobile wants those good summertime vibes to last all year with big savings. Get 1 gigabyte of data for just $5 a month for the first 12 months. And because Optimum Mobile is on the network outperforming Verizon with the best 5G availability, you can keep those good summer feelings going. Because you'll stay connected at the beach, at the park, at the barbecue, and on the road. Really, anywhere you go this summer. With Optimum Mobile, you get 5G access included, plus unlimited talk and text at a great value. Maybe that's why Optimum Mobile was voted #1 in customer satisfaction by our customers. Get closer with mobile savings and go farther all year long with mobile service for $5 a month for 12 months. Learn more at Optimum.com/summer5 or visit your local Suddenlink store today. 1 gigabyte plan, $5 a month for first 12 months. $20 activation fee applies. Then auto renews at standard monthly rates. Offer subject to discontinuance or change at any time. While supplies last. 5G not available in all areas. Other terms and conditions apply.
Janie Residential and Commercial Cleaning Services says texting and driving is a very serious problem. Please use caution when driving. Safe driving is everyone's responsibility. This message is from Janie Residential and Commercial Cleaning Services, equipped to handle all your home and office cleaning needs. They don't cut corners, they clean them. Call for a quote at 979-587-6886. Janie Residential and Commercial Cleaning Services, serving Bryan and College Station. Janie Residential and Commercial Cleaning Services, wishing everyone a happy summer season.
The Louie Bellina Show and Field of Family would love for you and your family to have the bestest, greatest summer ever. Enter now, go to zone1150.com, and you can win a Texas Summer Survival Kit. Go to Fiesta, Texas, Six Flags. Go to Cinemark Theater. Go to a Brazos Valley Bombers game. Win a gift card to Superior Auto Service and Field of Family. Enter now. You can win Treat the Family to a Texas Summer Survival Kit. Go to zone1150.com.
Does it seem cold in here to you? Oh, man. What's there to do tonight? Anything? Give me another cigarette over here.
What in the hell is this song? Do I not know this? T-Bob might know it. He's jamming out. It's TexAgs Radio.
Welcome back, TexAgs Radio. How you doing tonight? Playing the ones and twos. Hope you're having a wonderful
Is that
night
your
out
tone
there
low
tonight.
voice?
No, that's a little bit. And I don't know. I was just feeling whatever that beat was, man. You know, we just keep it nice and smooth here on TexAgs.
There he is.
Very good. That is the voice of a man who has drank entirely too much this week and is ready to return home to his two daughters in a more acceptable lifestyle, I would say.
It's been a hell of a run for you this week. Brown out last night.
I know,
I don't
dude.
heard
I
that
spilled
used.
champagne on you. I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry.
You know, you didn't spill champagne on me. You spilled it on the whole table. I just got a little bit. I'm wearing the exact same thing I had on last night.
Okay.
I'm out of clothes.
Okay, dude. Okay.
I've come straight
better
from
now.
straight from Mexico to here.
Yeah.
It's champagne. It doesn't stain. It was good.
Yeah, champagne. It's like that's a great point, Billy. If you're going to spill something on someone, champagne is probably in the top three, right? Like you're good there. So you know, sake. You know what it is? It's every time I drink sake, it's like I always have this like vision of like a movie montage where at first everybody's like a little awkward because maybe you're like eating with some people that you don't know. Then bring out the sake, you're like, thank you. And then like the Kid Cudi, Steve Aoki pursuit of having like, bwah, 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 bwah. And then like everybody's like, shit, this is sake. And the next thing you know, like somebody's got like a tie around their head. You're like, I love you, man. I love you so much. So every time I drink sake, things get sideways.
Well,
That's what happened
T-Bob,
last night, dude.
they didn't get sideways enough last night because apparently in the hotel, we missed some kind of weird party with Tone Loc and then a guest appearance by none other than Sugar Ray.
Sugar Ray.
90s party.
McGrath. Yeah, so I don't know, some company is here, Health and Wellness Company, massive event, thousands of people. And I'm seeing everybody yesterday in like neon and side ponies and denim and like, I'm like, what's going on here? And yeah, a massive 90s party. I was just talking to a girl in the elevator. I was like, how was the party last night? She's like, it was awesome. Sugar Ray showed up. And now we hear that Tone Loc showed up. I mean, legendary, dude.
Sugar Ray, we could have gotten, if we would have just seen him, T-Bob, we could have done like a snap or a TikTok or something with him where you and I could have sang the beginning of it, and then all of a sudden
then you hard cut
to him.
Yes, dude.
And he does like, she always writes the
Oh my God, it would have been so good, dude. Also, y'all are kind of like facial hair brothers in arms, dude.
This is true.
You know what I'm
This is
saying?
true.
Like you've been rocking the McGrath for a long time
That's
now.
true.
Dude.
And he had frosted tips.
I did have frosted tips.
Dude, I wanted frosted tips so badly growing up, but my dad wouldn't allow me to.
I told Burns, he's got that mustache and he thinks it's cute. I'm like, hey, the Top Gun thing's fun and everything. You do a bad facial hair decision in 1997 and you look up and you still got it.
And it's still,
Be careful.
Still there,
Be
dude.
careful.
I will say this about Burns. I think the mustache simultaneously makes him look sexier, but also way less trustworthy, right?
Yeah.
Which I guess, a lot of sexy has danger kind of inherently built into it. That's why it's sexy, right? So it's like he's a little greasy, can't kind of trust him, but you kind of want to sleep with him.
Reminds me of the guy in the girl.
I'm getting the nod of approval here, dude. I mean, we're good to go.
He reminds me of the guy in the Girl Next Door.
Emil Hirsch.
No, the guy that punches Emil Hirsch.
Yes,
right?
Dude, yes, absolutely. Wow, that is the second time Girl Next Door has come up this week.
That's true.
And I haven't thought about that movie since high school. I used to love it. Alicia Cuthbert, Emil Hirsch, great movie, dude.
Good soundtrack.
I don't think I saw that one. That doesn't surprise you.
The worst 90s person ever. Remembers nothing.
Like no pop culture.
Hip hop I got.
Oh, see, I don't know anything about music.
Yeah.
So we all have our strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, I just don't have many strengths, but I do know a little bit about 90s rap.
Speaking of strengths and weaknesses, what about LSU? I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
Brian Kelly. No, real talk though, dude. I don't know if they're going to be good this year, but they're going to be good.
You love the hire.
Yeah, I like the hire, dude. I think he's a beast. I mean, and this week has just reinforced that. Like you look at like everybody, like Clark Lee. Did you hear the Clark Lee bit on him? Clark Lee sounded like what everybody wants to feel about their boss. He sounded like an employee that was like empowered to and felt like he had value, right? And then you talk to like Cutcliffe, who, by the way, Cutcliffe's Southern drawl is, it's like ASMR. I mean, it's honey, dude. When he says program, I was like,
like
don't
a
do this
southern,
to me, dude.
like a southern lawyer.
Yes, exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
It's kind of who Brian Kelly was channeling when he said "my family."
That's
he
true.
was channeling Cuddy. But like Cutcliffe, whatever. The bottom line is, he's he's literally the winningest active coach in college football. And look, I love Edo. That's my boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was great until he wasn't. Like, his problem was dealing with success, right?
Yeah.
I played for Coach Miles. His problem, ironically, was just not being a good, like, on-the-field coach.
Yeah.
And it's a little weird and quirky and out there.
Were you on the field for that insanity at the end of that Tennessee game?
Oh, bro, I snapped the ball. That's like my claim to fame. That's my claim to fame. Everybody like still mentions that to me. I had 18 people at that game. Never had that many people show up for a game because my sister was dating an Australian at the time, and there were like 6 Aussies in there.
To see American football.
Yeah, they're like, what the hell is this? I've never seen this before, mate. It's wild. I mean, everybody's going crazy, and next thing you know, everybody's pissed off, and then they're all happy, and it was like it was unbelievable. But yes, I remember. I'll never forget. I was like in the shower at my apartment later that night, drinking a beer, and I just started dying laughing because I was like, what in the world just happened? Okay, but the point is, so Les, not the best. Coach O, really good until he wasn't. Kelly brings a level of kind of stability and competency that has not been at LSU since Saban.
Nick, yeah.
And bro, if Les Miles could play for a natty, like he won the natty, but that was with like a Saban team, right?
Yeah.
But if he could play for a natty with his own team, bro, I mean, now you give Kelly the keys, you got to imagine that he's going to do some special things.
Well,
I don't know about year one. Now.
It's interesting because Cole was asking me, who's that? We talked about it at dinner. Who's that third team?
Yeah, it's
in
the
SEC.
greatest question at SEC Media Days.
Now, you may not have remembered that because you had Doring just poor Alyssa and Rivers down at the other CDs going nuts. But Cole asked that question.
He's a dog. I randomly, when I was brown out last night, I randomly at 12:30 sent Doring a bunch of Lord of the Rings songs and like a lot of aggressive, like, you don't know anything about this, you little bee. Like, just like being like, you're a little, you don't.
I do things like
Rings,
that to
dude.
Seth McKinney a lot. One of our friends, another O lineman. He's become my file on Instagram because he's married.
Yes. Oh yeah.
3 girls. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. I was showing you.
yes,
Married, 3 daughters. I'm like, nobody DMs Seth on Instagram. So anytime I see anything good, I just send it to him. So he wakes up some mornings with like 30 Instagram DMs from like any concerts, any crazy animals attacking people, and all he does is he laughs. He loves it.
Yeah, man, he gets a little.
So CD's your guy for that.
No, that's the weirdest part. He's not.
Well,
I don't know why I decided to text Dorian all this. I've never texted Dorian in my life.
Sounds like a new thing.
And I just sent him a bunch of Lord of the Rings songs and insults out of nowhere. I did get my first. I had somebody slide in my DMs for the first time recently.
Really?
Yeah.
How did that go?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I didn't respond.
They like the
but
like
it
the
felt
beard
good.
and hair.
Well, so it was all about Heather McMahon, who is she's a badass. She's like a comedian now. She's super famous or whatever. But I went to prom with her back in the day, and so we had her on local radio, put on Instagram, and next thing you know, dude, people sliding in the DMs.
There you go.
Dude.
There
She's
you
like,
go.
I thought you were cute. I thought I'd just shoot my shot. I was like, oh, thanks.
You're
But I
like the
didn't
new
respond.
Hester.
Yeah. I mean, get out of here, Jake, with your square jaw. You're done.
Done, son.
It felt good, though. It was very validating, even though I didn't respond, obviously. I'm happily married and have 2 children, a third on the way.
Wow.
I'm trying to F that up.
When's that one due?
December 7th, a day that will live in infamy. Pearl Harbor boys, how about it? Never
Pearl
forget
Harbor. Was that also the day John Lennon was shot?
I don't know.
Might be. I
How
feel
would you
like,
know that?
Because I feel like when I was in 3rd grade, the teacher asked, "Do you guys know what today is?" And I think, or 2nd grade, and I think I was off by a day. Sorry.
Oh, it was
in
December 8th?
2nd grade, I was off by a day.
The teacher asked, hey, do you know what today is? And some kid's like, oh, yeah, John Lennon died, right?
I said that. I legit, that was how far ahead of the curve I was. Except Zane would be there in 2nd grade to go, "You're wrong. It was December 8th.
Dude.
Yeah.
I tried to get, I tried to have my last daughter born on 4/20/2020, the ultimate 420, and my wife shut it down.
Yeah.
Dude. We did 4/21. Freaking bummer, dude.
You pick the date.
Yeah, but now we can never remember the birthday because we're like, is it a day before or a day after? And I'm kind of like, I mean, had we done 4/20/20, we would have remembered it, okay? So that's kind of on you, not on me. I wanted to choose Pearl Harbor, but, okay, now we maybe do the 8th, do the little John Lennon thing.
T-Bob, you're coming to Kyle Field soon. Here's the other thing. Before we go, because we've talked so much A&M football, we're going to do that with everybody else.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about A&M baseball. You have said that, with you in the last couple of years have really become
I
a
did
big
not know
college baseball fan.
anything about college baseball, right? And which is dumb because, it's weird, though, because you couldn't watch it back in the day, right? And so during the 90s when LSU was winning all these natties, I was really young.
Yeah.
And I really, quite frankly, didn't super get into LSU till, I was 10 years old is when I feel like my sports consciousness kind of, woke up. And so I missed it all. And when I was doing radio in New Orleans, I didn't really watch it or care about it. But with the advent of the SEC network, right, and being able to watch games and not having to go, I fall in love with it, man. First off, it's great entertainment for the spring. But secondly, it's the rhythm of the schedule, right? Every weekend, you got 3 games to look forward to. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday. Just it's very digestible as a consumer, right? And it's not overwhelming like pro baseball where there's a million freaking games. It's 30 SEC games. You know all the narratives. You have your benchmarks like, okay, we need to get to 17 wins. If you hit 20 wins, you're going to be a super regional host. And so, man, I've fallen in love with it. And it was really cool watching A&M this year under Sloss get, I had no idea A&M had such a storied history, which is where my baseball ignorance comes in.
A lot of history against LSU.
Yeah, exactly, right? But now, so for them to go to Omaha was cool, and I think Jay Johnson is building you were telling me that, right?
Yeah.
Talking to the A&M players. I think Jay Johnson's building a pretty strong team in Baton Rouge.
I think two great hires, and that series next year at Olsen Field will be an absolute blast. T-Bob, before we let you go, two questions. Should he bring back the frosted tips?
Yeah.
That all depends on if you feel comfortable or not, right?
I can't do a suit and have frosted tips.
No.
You have to wear my 90s gear that I wore yesterday. You have to do that.
It's just one of those things where, whatever, it's like anything else in life. If you feel good rocking it, then that's all that matters.
I would
You're
feel
gonna be
like
good
a
to go.
total loser if I've got frosted tips. I was about to say
Frosted Flakes, delicious.
Those are just so good.
Baggiest pants in Atlanta yesterday.
I had some baggy pants.
Dude, I'll never forget. I had this visor that had fake built-in frosted tips.
Yeah.
And it was so we all went to college. And when you get back with your high school boys for the first time, I had this visor on, and it looked so real, and they were all really uncomfortable. Like, nobody wanted to call me out on it, but they were secretly judging me for frosting my tips. Like, damn, dude, this dude went off and really got weird. Like, he kind of changed a little bit. But the greatest thing was when I did the reveal. Flipped it off. It's not real. Oh, dude, it was incredible.
Yeah, why do I feel like Dalton, him and Seth need to meet and become best friends?
We got to have a Friday show.
Hey, yeah, you need to come. He needs to come on with me, Seth, and Steve.
We got to convince our station, because we do a live, very drunk, immediate post-game YouTube show.
I've seen it.
And we need to convince them to let us go on remote at College Station.
Oh, my God.
We'll
and
share
then
the studio
my
with
final
you.
question,
Yes, dude.
T-Bob, because I know you guys are getting out of town. If you sent that same series of Lord of the Rings texts, let's say if you were to make it a thing every time you're drinking, would you, who would be the next, or who would be the best victim in the SEC Network family to send that to?
I mean, I feel like
Feinbaum?
What would I think? Feinbaum wouldn't know what to do with it, right?
Yeah.
Like Dorian was like, "Oh, I love it, dude."
Rutledge would just laugh.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't really know Laura, so I wanted to send it to her.
That would make it good.
I don't really know Paul either. You know who I think would vibe with it actually is Alyssa Lang. I had a lot of fun with Alyssa.
She would.
She's got a lot of nerdy elements. She loves Marvel and stuff. So I don't think she probably loves Lord of the Rings. She's a little young maybe, but like I would send it to Alyssa. And I
Is
feel
her
like
dog
she'd be like,
named Marvel?
Yes.
Yeah. She's like a huge Marvel stan.
Him too.
Yeah, I am.
You know what's funny, man? I'm a massive nerd, and I love all of the nerd pillars, and I enjoy Marvel. I actually don't though. It's not like I don't live and die with it like Lord of the Rings or like Star Wars and stuff. Those are my.
Are you watching Obi-Wan and all those shows?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Me too.
Absolutely.
Dude.
Obi-Wan was sick, dude.
Answer this question for me. Why does Darth Vader get his ass kicked every time he's on TV now?
Well, what other times are you talking about here?
Well, I
In
mean-
Rogue One, he was an absolute beast. In Episode 2 of Obi-Wan, he's a freaking monster. Episode 3, right, when he's like dragging through the flames, that was so cool. He's like breaking necks and stuff.
Anakin's taken him to task twice.
Well, but Obi-Wan's a beast, dude, though. If we go into the animated series,
Obi-Wan,
Obi-Wan whooped freaking Darth Maul and his brother at the same time. Like, the only one who has beaten Obi-Wan is Count Dooku. But then Count Dooku's, on top of being
He let Darth beat him.
Well, on top of being, yes, and he let him, right? Like, that was by design, right? But on top of being Christopher Lee, the greatest actor of all time, Count Dooku was also like an expert duelist, so that was his thing. But like outside of that, Obi-Wan killed Maul in the animated series. Again, he beat Maul and his partner.
You know this.
He rocked.
I love Star Wars.
Obi-Wan is he's a beast, dude, and with the added motivation of Leia and Luke, he tapped into something that he didn't have before. His third eye opened, and he freaking handled Darth. That was so sick, dude.
You come to College Station, T-Bob. I may gift you my Jabba the Hutt toy that I found when my parents brought all the stuff from their garage.
I
It's
still got a lot
there.
of my old ones too, dude.
Little tail moves along with his head.
Oh,
It's-
yes, dude. Java's kind of creepy, dude. I mean, you think about Leia in the slave outfit, and it's like,
gross.
what was Java doing, dude? I mean, the Twi'leks, I don't know.
And he's got
All the
sons.
snot.
Mandalorian?
Yes. So Mandalorian to me is the great. Mandalorian season 2 is the greatest Star Wars that we have gotten since the original trilogy, and I love all of it. Like even Obi-Wan, as good as Obi-Wan was, it never reached the heights of Mando. To me.
But Boba Fett I thought was a train wreck. I did not like
So
Boba.
the problem with Boba Fett to me is it was a stylistic issue in a lot of ways. I love Robert Rodriguez, but he went for this sort of 90s camp, like in terms of how they were actually filming it, and it made all the action feel really lame.
I agree.
Like the chase scenes felt slow. Like they build up story-wise, they built up to a cool final encounter, but then it's like 10 people roll up in a van and they just like hide behind it. Like no military strategy. Like they did not sell Boba Fett being a badass, which ironically is in keeping with the Boba Fett tradition. He looks cool as hell,
but he's not.
But in Return of the Jedi, I mean, he gets played, dude. He has the lamest on-screen death of all time.
Where he shoots himself away.
Yes, dude. Yeah, he like they do the Wilhelm scream as he flies into the Sarlacc pit. So, and also they made Boba too much of just a straight good guy.
Yeah, they
he
did.
needed more anti-hero. Like this is Fett we're talking. So. Boba Fett had the cool elements. The 2 Mando episodes, which notably Rodriguez did not direct, which makes sense. Shout out Bryce Dallas Howard, Queen, freaking killing the game. So it's it was a bit unfortunate. It was a bit unfortunate.
Hey, I've never met you. I felt like I know you because before I took the gig, he told me to listen to your show.
Hell yeah, Billy, my man.
Yeah, he did. He gave me a group of shows to listen to. So thanks so much for joining us, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate
man,
it.
absolutely, boys. All right, I'm heading out to the airport.
All right, buddy.
Y'all
Love
have a
you.
good day. It's so
We'll
much
see you,
fun.
man.
Love y'all.
All right.
Holla.
Thank you.
TexAgs.
Yeah, T-Bob here. All right, we got another segment to go here on TexAgs Radio. We got 2 segments to go. We're way off the clock. It's TexAgs Radio.
Did you text the show a snarky remark? He'll bark back. It's David Nuno on TexAgs Radio. Weekdays on the Zone.
If you're looking for the best in the Brazos Valley, look no further than Cooper's Old Time Pit Barbecue. Seasoned and cooked to perfection, cowboy style over mesquite coals. Cooper's Aggie Special includes your choice of chopped beef, sliced turkey, sausage, pork loin, or brisket on a buttered and toasted bun, paired with chips and a soft drink for only $12.99. Experience the taste of locally Aggie-owned, nationally recognized Cooper's Old Time Pit Barbecue. Voted best barbecue in the Brazos Valley and proud supporter of Texas A&M athletics.
Hey guys, the Royal Management Team has gathered you here in Yield Conference Room to announce that thanks to all your hard work, the granary has enjoyed record profits this year. Nice. That said, there still isn't room in the budget for raises, but we will be providing gift cards to Grimwald's Tavern. I'm sorry, I've been informed they are actually coupons, not gift cards.
Throughout history, people have always been underpaid. That's why Monster lets you search jobs by salary. Find your job at monster.com or download the app.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Texas Army National Guard, aired by the Texas Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Crest Roofing and Remodeling says texting and driving is a serious problem. Please use caution when driving. Safe driving is everyone's responsibility. This message is from Crest Roofing and Remodeling right here in College Station, specializing in residential re-roofs, insurance adjuster, and roof inspections. Call for free estimates at 979-690-4000. That's 690-4000. Crest Roofing and Remodeling, wishing everyone a happy and safe summer season.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Dennis in Raleigh, North Carolina.
So what 19 said today about
Dennis, you stop referring to this man as 19. You are.
Why? Man, Jay, whenever
like
you see me walking around, wherever I'm at in Carolinas or we running each other, you can always say, hey, 19, how you doing?
Can I say one more thing about 19?
Dennis! Spend your mornings with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor. Mornings from 5 to 8 here on The Zone.
Got a text from my buddy Philip on my A&B text line. He goes, oh, great. I turned on the nerd segment. Yeah, that was a little bit of a nerd segment. T-Bob was hilarious. I know some people were split. Well, where's the football talk? Where's the football talk? We've been giving you a lot of football talk here on TexAgs Radio, and we're going to continue that football talk. So today we've had some Alabama hate on the program, and we tried to refute that on the show. We didn't try. We did. We did a good job with that. We're going to also get into our interview with Roman Harper, who he isn't high on A&M this year, but he gave us reasons why. We retorted that here on the show, and I'm going to bring it to you here on our last day of SEC Media Days, brought to you by Wings and More. Jimbo should be talking here in a little bit less than an hour, so we'll have Jimbo, and we'll bring you all the analysis afterwards. Let's go straight to my interview, though, with Roman Harper from this week.
So I should get like 10 grand for this interview, right? Like everybody else? No, I'm just playing. I
hope we're rolling. Are we rolling? I hope we're rolling. Hey, so I didn't see it, but I read. You think Bama's going to smash my Aggies? What's up with that?
I do. It's the revenge effect. Also, I haven't heard Jimbo call a shot like he did last year. So those little things are important. Also, the revenge factor just plays a big deal. I also want to see who's going to be Texas A&M's quarterback.
Yeah.
Haynes King has to be healthy. If not, Max Johnson will be the guy too. So those two guys don't scare me as much, but neither did Calzada last year as well. So the game still has to be played. It won't be at Kyle Field. It'll be in Bryant Denny this year. So plus, who needs, it's me today. I need a hot take too. So we got to get the people going.
Last year, and Roman Harper with us, by the way. I think you predicted you were high on A&M last year going into media days. But were you high on them going into the game at Kyle Field after they had lost to Arkansas and Mississippi State?
No, I had not. But, we were talking, Greg McElroy, we were talking earlier, and he mentioned the same thing. It's like, Texas A&M has continued to improve when it comes to recruiting, roster building, all these other expectations. But, man, they can't beat Alabama, then lose to a Mississippi State. So they have to find a way to stop letting us all down, because not only are analysts fans, because we just like good football. No matter who's playing it, you're all rooting for them, especially in the SEC. We all root for each other. And I just like watching great players shine. And that's what I want to see consistently out of Texas A&M. No more letdowns. They're continuing to build this roster out. They have to get the things going. And as much as we love to talk about how many 5 stars Texas A&M is bringing into the program, it's still going to come down to great, consistent quarterback play, being able to play good defense when they lost Elko as a defensive coordinator, who's really hard to replace, and also consistency on the offensive end. Being able to run the football in Jimbo Fisher's offense has been the biggest thing. If they can run the football, they're going to be successful offensively. So consistently run the football and be able to pass the football off of that.
Wouldn't you say, though, that Calzada last year, outside of the Bama game, was so inconsistent?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
So if they just get anything a little bit better than that, they should be better.
Yes. But it's still going to come down to consistency.
Yeah.
Can you do it game in and game out? When teams are putting pressure on you, when teams are mixing up the coverages, and sometimes defenses are going to show you things that you didn't get to see in practice, and how do you handle those times in those situations when that happens on a crucial third down? You have to get through to the next down and just making the right decision. Sometimes the right decision is taking a shot. Sometimes the right decision is just checking the football down. Or sometimes it's eating the football and getting your team to a punt, a manageable fourth down. Punts are not always a bad thing. They're actually sometimes a really good thing in the game, because now it allows your defense to go out there, play good defense, maybe get a 3-and-out or a turnover, and now you set yourself up for a score. You just don't know what those 3 or 4 plays in a game that are going to flip it either way could be. You must manage what you can, and that's what I need more consistency out of the quarterback position for Texas A&M.
All right, let's talk a little defense for a moment. Safety-wise, Antonio Johnson, what have you seen on film that you like?
Well, he's versatile. He's played other positions. He's played nickel. He's fast, and he's played a lot of ball. At the end of the day, I want to see this new scheme of Texas A&M. It's going to be something I'm not used to seeing. I want to try and jump in and do a little bit more film study as we get more and more game tape in front of us, and just really try and see it. But when it comes to talent, the talent's not the question. It's never going to be the question with some of these SEC teams, especially with A&M and what they've been doing the last couple of years. So I love watching defensive guys fly around, especially secondary play. Leon O'Neal last year was another guy that I really like to feature and see him make some plays. And this defense will continue to improve. But I just want to see what they look like under the new regime.
Now, I know your answer to this, but I don't know if my audience does. Who's the best player in the country?
Oh, Will Anderson Jr. I mean, everybody knows that. He's a one-man wrecking crew. And if you don't know who he is, he's number 31 for Alabama. He's a man-child. And he's been that for a couple of years now. But, as it continues to grow out, I have to find another favorite player.
So do me a favor. If you get a chance, go on the film and watch how he played against Texas A&M. Because I think Reuben Father, he got him a couple times.
He did. Look. I mean, it's probably one of the few games. I mean, if he only had like one or two tackles for loss, it's like, oh, that was a good game. Where we defended him or tried to block him. And, when you got guys like that, special players, sometimes if they don't make the most special plays, at the end of the night, you give Texas A&M credit. They came down, they made the interception in the end zone to really flip the field when Alabama was getting some momentum. Then when Alabama scored and you thought, oh, here he comes again. Alabama's just going to go. They're going to run away with him here. Texas A&M, Anaya Smith returns that kickoff return for a touchdown. You just can't. Those are the things that happen when it's your night. And it was Texas A&M's night. They made a big field goal to kind of clinch it and seal it. It was a great win. You give them – that is what I love about college football. The emotions, you're at home field. And all those things matter so much more to these young men and women that are playing this game. So it's been really cool to just kind of take it all in. I've still yet to be to Kyle Field. But hopefully we get to go this year and I get to be a part of it.
All right, so last thing for you. Bama 1, Georgia 2, let's say. Who's 3?
In the SEC?
Yeah.
For me, if Texas A&M does what they're supposed to, they're going to be right there with it.
Okay.
And if not, I like Tennessee right now, just because you return Hendon Hooker,
Yep.
the offensive explosion that Josh Heupel's going to bring to this Tennessee team. You still return wide receivers like Tillman, and they just have to be a little bit better defensively. If they're effective defensively, and I'm not saying you got to be good, I just need you to force some turnovers, get some key third down stops. Your offense will carry you the rest of the way, especially with Hendon Hooker going into his second year in this type of offense. And Tennessee's doing a great job of recruiting, just like everybody else is in the SEC. But I really like Tennessee as well. They're their third team if Texas A&M, unless Texas A&M steps up and does what they can do. Which I thought they were going to be that team last year.
Yeah, right.
So because of last year, I'm going to take Tennessee,
All
which
right.
Tennessee was a sleeper. But I love what Texas A&M is doing. I expect them to be that team very soon. So it's going to be on them to continue to not let me down, but continue to answer the bell when I'm talking about them and expectations.
Thank you, Rome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's great.
It's going to cost
All right, there he is, Roman Harper. There he is. There's Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They're not here in Atlanta. They're in the Brazos Valley. They're in Caldwell, and they are awesome at what they do, guys. It is time to talk about them because we bought a vehicle from them not too long ago, about a month ago, and it was a great decision. We're in this climate where you're not getting a lot of value for your trade-ins. They're trying to take it up to another level, and they did us a real good solid, and I know they can do one for you as well. Plus, we got the great vehicle we wanted. We needed a bigger vehicle. He got us a Chevy Tahoe. He being Zach Hester and his crew there, got us a Chevy Tahoe that we're driving in now, and it's just been a great addition to the family to be able to have that car. And I'll tell you, the process was smooth, easy, and amazing customer service. 15-minute drive, Brian Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and you do business with Zach and the fellas there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. It is on Highway 21 in Caldwell and online at CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. The Boys and Girls Club track program is raising money to send 11 athletes to the state track meet this weekend. Donate to the Race to State campaign at bgcbv.org/track. Hundreds of books geared to young readers will go on sale Saturday, August 20th at the Mounts Library in downtown Bryan. The special one-day sale features books for newborns to age 12. Doors open to members of the Bryan College Station Friends of the Library at 9 a.m. and the general public at 10 a.m. The 16th annual Voices for Children Casa Golf Classic is Monday, November 7th at Miramont. Sponsorship opportunities are now available. Find the event at vfcbrazos.org for more information. Submit your nonprofit event to news at WTAW.com. Every Thursday night when the Brazos Valley Bombers are home, it's Thirsty Thursday, brought to you by The Zone. $1 beer, soda, or water. It's Thirsty Thursday, brought to you by The Zone. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Hi, this is Kelly Adams with Girard Construction, custom home builders for the Brazos Valley since 2002. We love to help our clients take their vision and build it into reality. Our local team is hands-on and will work with you step by step, from planning and budgeting to choosing finishes and handing you the keys. All of our subcontractors are local, and most have been with us for 10 years or more. At Girard Construction, we don't just build homes, we build relationships. Let's build your dream home together. Visit us at girard-construction.com.
RM Mullinix, MullinixAC.com.
At RM Mullinex, we're the experts in ductless AC systems. Mitsubishi mini splits are up to 40% more efficient than traditional systems. With the flexibility to cool each zone as needed, they're perfect for offices, workshops, or that hot room. And they work great with your backup generator, too. An independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. Trusted since 1948.
MullinixAC.com.
Since 1957, Slovakic Sausage in Snook has been making the best tasting sausage in Texas from the same family recipe. Slovakic is the official sausage of Texas A&M Athletics. Whether it's from the grill to the family gathering or from the pit to the neighborhood party, serve the sausage voted best in the Brazos Valley. Serve Slovakic. Be sure to come in and check out their full-service meat market, relax on the front porch, or grab some fresh kolaches from their bakery on your way out. Slovakic Sausage, Highway 60 in Snook.
Everything in life has rules, and the Zone has prize rules for all contesting. You can check them out at Zone Zony1150.com. You may know you can win once every 30 days. There can only be one winner per household per month. You have 30 days to pick up your prizes. You have to be 18 or older to win. You have to present a legal ID to claim your prize. All prizes are non-transferable and not for resale. To make sure you do know all the rules, or if you have any questions about the prize rules, make sure to visit Zony1150.com. Zony1150.com.
It is the final segment of the program, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in our Rollo Insurance Studio in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you to Wings & More for making this trip happen. The roadshow brought to you by Wings & More, and you can go to the one on University Drive. So it was good to have the talk with Billy earlier in the program when we talked about the Anias thing after he's done some research on it, asking some questions, and really kind of not as worried as we were yesterday. But something to think about is that depth at the wide receiver spot, regardless of what happens with Anias, is an interesting question, because if you're putting all your eggs in the Evan Stewart basket, it's not often, as good as he is, that freshmen do contribute some of those 40 reception type game or seasons, I should say. But there have been some, and I'm going to throw you some of these because before the show, Dalton and I were doing some research on some pretty good freshman years. The best one that came to mind was Michael Crabtree, his first year at Texas Tech. 134 receptions. Okay, that's almost 100 more than Anias caught last year. Different kind of offense. There's a reason for that. But that just shows you the amazing season that Michael Crabtree had and how often they throw. A&M doesn't throw the ball like that. And even if they start going downfield, they're not throwing the ball like that. But just something to think about. Des Bryant, his freshman year, 43 receptions. All right, that wouldn't be bad. Calvin Johnson had 48 receptions his freshman year. Larry Fitzgerald, here's a big one, 69 receptions his freshman year. I put those numbers out there because I think somewhere in that window you could see, I would say closer to the 38 to 45 level-ish, depending on what happens, how explosive the team is. And you say all that, and then you look at what the Aggies have overall. Getting somebody to catch the ball 40 to 50 times would be nice. But if Anias gets any suspension, who catches the balls on this team? I mean, think about it. There are not a lot of balls that have been caught on this team. Anias was the only receiver last year to catch more than 20 passes. And I'm not calling Jan Wademeyer in that part of the conversation. But you look at the rest of the receivers, not a lot of catches on that group. It's okay, though. It's certainly fine because you've got, from last year, we got A-Chain, running back, 24 receptions. Then it goes to Jalen Preston, 17. Damon Demas had 15 last year. Caleb Chapman had 13 receptions last year. Chase Lane had 12 receptions last year. Moose Muhammad had 10. And there you go. Max Wright with 3, Devin Price with 1, and L.J. Johnson had 1. So not a lot of depth beyond that, or a lot of, I should say, experience at that position. But I will say it may not matter if the running game is on point the way we expect it to be. It's going to be okay because it's going to open up the Evan Stewarts. And I think it's a great opportunity for Jake Johnson or Donovan Green. We know how important the tight end is to the A&M and Jimbo offense. Jake could get his in this offense, and Donovan Green could get his in this offense. Max Wright could get his in this offense. So if it is a couple games, it is a couple games. A&M will be able to weather the storm easily. Not easily, but they'll be able to weather the storm. And I am not as worried as I was when the news first came down. All right, that's going to do it here for TexAgs Radio on a Thursday. Appreciate everybody listening in. Great guest on the program today. Really enjoyed T-Bob. That was a fun conversation. It was really, really good. Josh Pate, that was way early this morning catching up, but Josh Pate was phenomenal as he always is. Ryan Fowler got you guys angry, and I liked it. It was good. It was a good conversation there with Ryan Fowler, so I appreciate Ryan joining the show. We talked a little with Zach Blackerby, a little Auburn football as well. So lots of things that we've got to break down here on the program. It was fun. Tomorrow we'll be back in studio. We will have the fan show. We'll have some of the interviews that we get done today on that show. We'll hear from Jimbo, Damani, and Layden Robinson as well. Thank you so much for listening. We will hopefully, depending on weather, see you mañana.